Welcome to Lights Camera Barstool, episode 45 of season 2. Jeff D. Lowe alongside Ken Jack and our producer and fill-in extraordinaire, Gooch. Talking about
how's it going?
A lot. Chris will be joining us. We actually already did our reviews of Nope and The Gray Man, but we have to do this backwards today. This is all my fault. I felt a massive migraine headache all day. Just unreal. Unreal headache. Actually got food because I thought it was a food thing. I did not. All I did was play mini golf yesterday. I got food and it was so bad I went to go take a bite of my food and I just went nope and just threw it away. Feel good now though. We have 2 reviews. Nope, a big review, good review. We really got into the weeds on that movie. The Gray Man. We did an interview with William Jackson Harper. He was on talk about his new series. You will know him from The Resort Place as well as Midsummer. We had a good time with him, and we'll spend a lot of time doing what we're about to do. That's talk about San Diego Comic-Con. We will kind of just cut to the chase on that because there is a lot of stuff to talk about with Comic-Con. A ton of trailers. This is what happens every year. It's one of those episodes. This episode, though, brought to you by Everlywell. When you know a lot more about yourself, you can do more. What if you could use, I guess, old science, folks, to learn more about your body? That's what Everlywell is trying to do. Digital healthcare designed for you, all at an affordable, transparent price. With over 30 at-home labs, you'll be able to choose the test that makes the most sense for you to get answers you need, like men's health, thyroid test. We took that. Thyroid test, very important. It could fix and solve a lot of problems if you.
My sister has thyroid problems. It causes her absolute hell.
Yeah, my sister had the same thing, and once they discovered that, though, fixed a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Get that thyroid test. Everything will ship products straight to you with everything you need in one package. To take your at-home lab test, it comes in a package that looks like you're building a model kit with like a car or something. It's not. It's a lab test, so don't get overly excited on that. To take your at-home lab test, simply collect your sample and use the included prepaid shipping label to mail your test back to a certified lab. Your physician-reviewed results get sent to you on your phone or device in just a few days, and you can share the results with your primary care physician to help guide the next steps. Food allergy one, another great one, by the way. It's so simple. Over 1 million people have trusted Everlywell to support their health and wellness goals, and you should too. Everlywell is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/LCB. That's everlywell.com/LCB for 20% off your next at-home lab test. everlywell.com/LCB. All right. Lot of stuff to talk about. Let's do non-Comic-Con stuff quickly-ish. That'd be quick, but we won't spend an overabundance of time on it. Starting with, we actually talked about this later in the show very briefly. Sony thanked Venom 2 for paving the way for Top Gun Maverick.
Had to talk about it. It's one of the wildest quotes I've ever seen. He was so sincere about it too. There was a good paragraph outside of that where he's talking about how Venom and Morbius, he added Morbius into the mix, got people back into theaters, even though Morbius made no money.
And then they did it, and then they put it back in theaters based on a meme, and it made no money again. It made no money 2 times. That's
I think it's got to get it going a 3rd time. Yeah,
you're speaking it into existence. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's putting good vibes out into the universe. He's like, yeah, look at us, and hoping that someone takes him seriously. I don't know.
Re-release Top Gun, maybe. I don't know.
I do have one friend who saw Venom 2 and literally said it was one of the best movies he's ever seen.
Don't you? I love that. I love when somebody will say a movie's one of the best things they've ever seen because they see 1 or 2 movies a year, and you're like, oh fuck. I don't want to be a dick right now, but that movie sucks ass. So that's crazy. Trailers though. First teaser trailer released for Halloween Ends. It's theaters October 4th. Man, I could not.
Do you think it'll end?
The whole fucking time. I've never believed something less than the entire start to finish of this trailer.
It's just stupid. I'm so sick of the first reboot where they had Michael Myers going out there killing podcasters. First of all, that's fucked up. That's prejudiced against us. That's what we do for a living. Second of all, the second movie where it starts out with Michael Myers just beating the fuck out of these firefighters. We enjoyed the first one, right? Yeah, first one was a solid movie. Okay. Second one, when he has to fight all the The second one was a piece of shit. Second piece was the most generic, nothing fucking Halloween slasher movie ever made. Okay, that's mean. Like when you watch the older Halloweens, like H2O or whatever, they're definitely worse. But like that one was pretty fucking bad. And then like to wrap it up with this and say like, yeah, it's Halloween Ends. This time Michael Myers definitely not going to make it. You're a fucking liar. We know you're lying. We know Michael Myers is not going to die here. You know why? Because you keep making boatloads of cash off his fucking name. So we know you're not going to end this goddamn franchise on this movie. So don't lie to us, brother. We know it's not the truth.
I will note one thing. They do say this saga ends, right? Or their saga. So I don't know if they're just saying
Michael Myers Jr. What are they going to do?
They may be implying that he Mikey just fucking kills Laurie and walks off.
That would be great.
What do you have him do? What do you have him do? Like, how do you carry out?
She's in a hospital bed for much of the last movie. People forget that.
Fucking Laurie Strode.
I didn't see the last one. I don't care about this franchise at all.
Well,
I really thought Michael Myers was a great sort of character.
We're in such a golden. Yeah, go ahead.
Until I realized he was Cuban anyway. Once I realized he was Cuban, I was like, this guy is just Michael Myers, not convincing, not scary enough for me. We got to end this franchise.
Well, she did compare the last movie to the Black Lives Matter movement. Don't forget that.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
This woman just
I did not know that.
Yeah.
She's got the haircut to get away with it. I'll just say that much.
I think we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago when you weren't on, and Chris brought that up, and I was ready to say it. He beat me to it, and she did do that. She compared the last movie to the Black Lives Matter.
There's so many good horror movies coming out now. We're in such a golden age of horror where it's like original stuff. It's the genre where people are putting out really original scripts. We talk about Nope later, and that's one of them. And why are we going back to Halloween and doing it in the least creative kind of way? Mm-hmm. Go back to space.
Damn, dude.
Which one did they go to space in?
It was like a bulletproof movie because like the first one of the reboots, and that was 2018. It made $250 million, which like that's pretty solid. The one that came out after that, it came out basically in the middle of COVID still in October or just in 2021, made $131 million. They just going to keep, that's one of the most frustrating things about horror movies is that the most awful franchises will be kept afloat by the fact that they can make a shit ton of money, but still frustrating to see where this franchise is going. Do something new. Especially for
give me Truth or Dare too.
Oh God! I saw a trailer for something that looks similar to that before Nope, where it was like this, all these people getting cursed by a smiley person or something. Did you see that?
I saw the they/them. I think that looks terrible, but I really like the title.
Yeah, the reboot was very enjoyable. It wasn't great at all. I'd say it was above average range. Enjoyed it though for what it was. Really enjoyed it. I could say the same about the Scream movie. Kind of. The second one was fucking dog shit. This one, I don't know. I mean, at least it's Laurie versus Michael again, and not what's his face. Fucking the whole second movie was the main character in the second movie was Anthony Michael Hall's Tommy Doyle.
Yeah. The weird thing about it being Laurie Strode versus Michael, it's like it's not like it's Michael versus Jason. Like Laurie's just a regular ass dude. Like she doesn't have superpowers or like a supernatural being. She should be getting her ass beat by Michael at least once. Like she should be dead.
Such a predictable trailer too. The trailer was so predictable. Her standing behind the board saying like, "You son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill you." It's like, all right.
Okay. Been trying for years, lady. Haven't succeeded once.
You stink at this.
She's just Tom, and Mike Myers is Jerry.
Yeah, literally, that is true. Game of Thrones released a huge trailer. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. I thought the trailer looked pretty fucking cool. Really reminded me of early Thrones, in terms of like kind of what like the politicking, right, and like just.
Succession.
I thought the trailer was awesome. It looks fantastic. It is based on pre-existing source material. Many people have made sure to tell us that because we kind of pooed on it a little bit in the beginning, but I'll be okay to admit that I am looking forward to this. I think it looks awesome. I just hope it is. I will say one thing though. I don't care how you dress the man up. Matt Smith always looks like Matt Smith. He just looks like Matt Smith in a wig, like he always does. Right?
He has a very distinct, and it's not a bad face, but he has a very distinct.
It is. It's just like
that fucking jaw like an anvil.
Remember, he was supposed to maybe be like young Palpatine. That was like the rumor for a while.
Yeah.
I have a theory he was, and he got on set, and they went, "Oh fuck,
you're just Matt Smith."
Yeah, they're like, "We can't run this. We can't run with this."
Was this Comic-Con related?
He doesn't work for me in anything unless he's just himself, or I guess whatever.
Doctor Who wasn't he?
Doctor Who, like
he was.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird. It's a completely nitpicky thing. It's not going to ruin my ability to like the show.
He's one of the most British people I've ever. He's absurdly British looking.
Yeah. Ken Jack, thoughts on the trailer?
I think my original take on this when they first announced it was just like I had faith in it because HBO is obviously like the best television creator on the entire planet, and like the fact that they see what people didn't like about the ending of Game of Thrones, I think that they're a sort of network that will realize that, make the adjustments, and fix those mistakes before making out anything else from Game of Thrones. And that this trailer definitely got the blood rolling again. Like it makes you want to rewatch Game of Thrones all over again, and just I think that's a great thing because it is an incredibly interesting universe. And for someone who's been waiting for that next book, like everyone else, for a long time, just getting to see a little bit more of this really fascinating lore is sick. I love it. I can't wait.
Are you a book reader, Ken Jack? Are you?
I read a buddy of mine in college. He told me, "Hey, I'm watching this show, Game of Thrones. Like it's 2011. That's like right when the first season aired." And he's like, "You got to watch it. It's really good." I watched it and I was like, "Holy shit, this is incredible!" And I read all of the books while I would take the train to college in the mornings when I was at Baruch, and it was just I plowed through them. I went through every single one of the books on my my trusty Kindle on the way there, and I love it.
That's how I've been doing The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Just been reading on the train.
It's a great Witcher. I need to get down too.
Him. They got to get him out of the spotlight. They've had him front and center for promoting this show.
Yeah,
like giving out quotes. They need to pull that. People get so mad every time that man opens his mouth. Mm-hmm. And they're not nice about it. They say some stuff that you shouldn't say.
I think he's learned it too, because like he what do you call it? And the last thing he's like, I haven't been on set at all because I've been busy writing this book. It's like, we know you haven't, bitch.
You've been in Albuquerque. You're in Albuquerque or whatever part of New Mexico you hang out in, doing God knows what. Writing about the Jets.
Yeah, exactly. God damn it.
I've fully convinced myself this will be the show of the year. I think this is going to be the best show of the year.
Mm-hmm. I hope so.
I think there's too many good things going for it, from the script being what early Game of Thrones was and it being completed. I think there's a great cast behind it, great creators behind it, obviously with HBO. The production is obviously there. The dragons look better than they ever have. I think HBO knows what they're doing here, and I think they probably saw early footage and decided to greenlight all this other stuff too. I mean, they got 6 other shows, 6 or 7 other Thrones related properties coming. So yeah, no, I think this is about to be a massive hit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty great. Also, good news: the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer just leaked, and I recorded it, and I'm going to send it to you guys. Shout out to the hero who recorded it from his lap. It's not great, but you see enough.
Is it better than the Ant-Man?
No, it's the same guy who recorded the Ant-Man trailer, but it's enough. We have enough to talk about.
I saw them reaching one clip of the guy reaching in a whole baby rocket raccoon. That's the only clip I've seen of it so far.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it away to you lads.
I was hiding behind the Wedding Crashers 2 booth at Comic-Con filming the trailer.
I'm gonna send it to you guys here in a second. And when we talk about our next respective trailers, we try to give it a watch. Next trailer is for Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, which this is probably the best trailer we've seen yet. I saw a comment from somebody that they think they fired the first marketing company that made the trailers.
I think they did. I think they fired their first marketing. I actually 100% agree with that, because they've quit doing. They did that weird thing. Remember where there was a new poster every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was odd. I thought this marketing was pretty cool though. I'm very excited for this. It got me hyped up. I'm excited for this more than Game of Thrones, only because I'm a Game of Thrones fan, but not like many people are. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah.
And that matters more to me. But I will say, if you were to tell me to bet on which one would be better, I would probably say Game of Thrones will end up being better. There's still a little reservation I have about this, and it might be the Hobbit stink. I'll admit that. It might be the fact that the Hobbit just fucking stunk.
Not the first one.
It might just be in the back of my head that way. Ken Jack, give your thoughts, and then you can pause and watch the Guardians trailer, which I just sent. Robbie, I with you already.
I think that I would agree with you guys in that the first few looks at this show we've gotten pretty much all been bad, all been shit, all been overly CGI'd, which is something that I think most fans of the original, I don't even like saying the original trilogy, but the original Lord of the Rings, all the fans of that watched The Hobbit that didn't like it. I think a very big common complaint was just, why are you CGIing everything? Why is there's nothing on location. There's none of the orcs are practical. It's very frustrating. And that was a lot of what we saw in the first trailers and the first looks at it and everything, which was definitely frustrating. I think you get a better look at some of the stuff now in this new trailer, especially you get looks at there's a cavalry charge in it that we saw. There's a couple other fight sequences and some really cool shots that did use CGI. There's one that was a hellscape with Galadriel, which looks sick. I'm very, very fascinated to how this turns out because, number one, the amount of money that Amazon has invested into it. They spent more money, I think, just acquiring the rights to make the show than the entire budget of all three Lord of the Rings movies, which is $300 million, which is insane. So the amount they already have invested in this and the sort of poor track record Amazon has for this sort of thing, I would say so far with Wheel of Time, which was a huge dud, massive dud. Definitely has me a little hesitant, but I want it to be good because almost the same thing with Game of Thrones. It's such a fascinating and huge and rich world that hasn't really got a chance to be explored after so much time. So I really want to see more of it, and I want it to be done right. And not exactly I'm an encyclopedic similarian reader or something like that, but so I can't really talk to how accurate any of that shit is. But I'm really excited for a lot of what I saw in the trailer, at least the last one.
I mean, it probably has the biggest and most in-depth lore to pull from any IP existing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a ridiculous IP. I think the trailers have looked better and better and better. I'm getting really hyped for it. I am worried about it going right up against Thrones, which I do think is just going to be executed probably better. I think the Galadriel casting, I said it last time, I think that's probably going to be the biggest question mark. Is that, can that girl carry the show? I think she's going to be asked to do a lot. And I think she nailed the voice in that trailer. She sounded pretty spot on to Cate Blanchett, actually. And apparently at the Comic-Con, they actually showed a separate piece of footage where she did the full reading from Fellowship, the opening reading, where it's 7 rings to men, the whole thing.
Yeah, I am hesitant, but I won't even pretend I'm not really fucking excited for it. We'll just see how it is. But the marketing has improved so much; it's crazy. It really, and a bunch of the comments when we posted it, people said the same thing. They're like,
that first Super Bowl spot they released was so bad. The one they released for the Super Bowl was the minute-long teaser, and it was almost all their CGI shots, and it was everything everyone hated about The Hobbit. They just crammed it into a 1-minute trailer.
Yeah, nuts. Again, there's the difference between all
Bezos. Jeff Bezos cut the first trailer.
Yeah, Bezos did it himself. So yeah, that's the two. I don't know. How do you big fantasy properties dropping basically the same time, a couple weeks apart. Game of Thrones, August 21st, Lord of the Rings, September 2nd. As those come out, we'll definitely talk about them on the show. Excited for both. Don't Worry, Darling from Olivia Wilde, the new trailer. Not that different from the first one, though. Kind of gives a little more backstory. Or a little more insight into the chaos and craziness. Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, Gemma Chan, Olivia Wilde, many more. Hits theaters September 23rd. A 1950s housewife living with her husband in the utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company may be hiding disturbing secrets. Kind of bummed I watched this. There's a little too much in this trailer. I think it's tough to decipher what the fuck is happening. The mystery is not ruined at all. But I'm done with marketing on this movie. This movie looks fucking awesome. I just think the movie is going to be artistic and inventive and different and fun and very well acted. and very mysterious. I have nothing but great things to say about it. I just don't need to see anything else. Like, you got me. I'm convinced. Like, I'm convinced it's going to be a good movie. So I am excited for Don't Worry, Darling. I assume that's what you guys feel as well. I mean, the trailer just looks really solid. Albeit, it seems as though they're just showing more than I think I would like to see. Thoughts on the new trailer for Don't Worry, Darling?
This movie, I think, is definitely, I think bait and switch is maybe the right way to put it, or maybe not. But like, when they first announced this movie and they just showed pictures of like Pew and Harry Styles just like hanging out in 50s garb, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like some dramatic romance story or something like that, like a Revolutionary Road or some shit. And like, man, the first trailer alone, like, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And it got me immediately like hyped up for this. Like, I would say it definitely was. I was hyped up for this movie regardless, because Olivia Wilde, it's a great cast involved, top to bottom. But like, now knowing what this sort of vibe this movie is going for, it shot up towards like my most anticipated list like very quickly. I would say it's like, as of right now, one of my top 5 anticipated movies, just period, because I'm just super hyped up for it. And I didn't watch this trailer for the same worry that kind of you're talking about revealing too much stuff. So I'm basing most of this off the last one, because I saw people tweeting saying like, "Oh, stop revealing all this shit in the trailers," and I was like, "Okay, I'm not watching this. I'm not gonna risk it." So I'm saving myself. I'm keeping myself pure going into Don't Worry, Darling.
I'm a guy who does not mind spoilers one bit, not even a little bit, which is good, because when I'm on the LCV account, I get people are assholes and draw spoilers all the time.
You get spoiled quite a fucking bit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute asshole.
This movie looks much better than I thought it was going to. I didn't think it was ever going to be a bad movie, but the direction, I was thinking 50s, I thought it would be kind of focused on just being, wrong generation type girls. I'll be honest. Like, when I first like saw the castings, I was like, Olivia Wilde. It's like, I don't know. But the more I see of it, and it's really leaning into like a sci-fi, like paranormal, or maybe not paranormal, but psychological thriller, like erotic thriller. I think it looks incredible. It really looks good. And Chris Pine clearly has a much bigger role than I thought he was going to have. He's don't want to say too much, but he looks like he's going to be, the big bad. So I love Florence Pugh. She hasn't missed, not yet.
Big one for Harry Styles as well too. I think Harry Styles we haven't seen a ton, but I think he is a good actor. I think he has the chops, and he's very entertaining and charming. It looks good in this from what we see. This cast is fucking huge. There's so many people in this movie. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy, and that comes out in December. That's one that snuck up on me a little bit. I actually thought that was much farther away than I realized.
I did too. I thought it was next year.
Yeah, Nick Kroll, Timothy Simon's in it.
Oh yeah, Timothy Simons looks great in it too.
Yeah, he does.
Olivia Wilde directing again. She's someone else. I know people view her maybe as on the villainous side if they're big Ted Lasso fans, but I think Olivia Wilde's great. And this would be her second big directorial movie after Booksmart, the original one, and then she moves on to do Spider-Woman, which is a blockbuster. I think she has another movie after that as well, so I don't know what the order is going to be on that. This one, I'm excited to see what you guys think about this one. The new Dungeons and Dragons movie. Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Speaking of Chris Pine, Honor Among Thieves. What a title. Chris, I don't even know if that's a reference. Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant. Comes out next March.
We'll have to bring Nick on.
The trailer.
We'll have to bring Nick on for that one. Tehran, isn't he a big D&D guy?
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons guy. I kind of like the trailer.
Oh, I liked it a lot. It
really? I think
it felt like I thought about this trailer the same way I saw people talking about The Gray Man, like being like, oh, it's a cultural nothing. That's what this trailer felt like to me. It was very much, and I saw someone say this on Twitter. I wish I remember who it was. They said it has big, well, that just happened energy, which is very true.
Yeah.
Very, very accurate.
I bet the action and visual effects diarrhea might be the best way to describe the trailer. But I don't know. I kind of had fun with it. Like I kind of had fun with it. I will say, I don't know if I watched this trailer when I was maybe a little drunk.
Dropped Friday night, so there's a chance.
It was this weekend, so it is likely.
Because I did think Black Sabbath War Pigs was the trailer song when I rewatched it today, and I'm like, that never comes into the trailer at any point in time. But I rewatched it and I still had fun with the trailer. I was like, oh, this. I don't think this is that bad. I think it's going to suck ass. I do. I don't think it's going to be any good. But like, I have a higher view on this movie than I did before the trailer, which is surprising. But now that you just said that, Ken Jack, I don't know. I'm looking at it differently.
Yeah, I'm looking at it in the exact reverse, in which I thought I was interested in it beforehand, and then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh no, it's taking that route. No thanks.
I hope there's a pop in the theater if Chris Pine says, well, that just happened after like a character like does some wacky shit.
Yep.
It'll be they got to go the authentic route, make it just 7 hours long. People are just stuck on campaigns.
Make it like what do you call it? Choose your own adventure. Like the audience member can pick what happens next. Like whoever votes towards whatever happens.
Dungeons and Dragons Bandersnatch.
Yes, exactly.
So that's that trailer. They had a big San Diego Comic-Con trailer. John Wick 4 Comic-Con trailer. Though the trailer didn't say John Wick 4. Didn't it just say John Wick?
I think it said Chapter 4.
JW4.
I could be wrong.
Really? Okay, whatever. Point being, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, and more comes out also March of next year. I thought this trailer was pretty awesome. Some of the fight, the hand-to-hand mixed in with the gun fight between John Wick and Donnie Yen's character looked fucking badass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pumped for this.
Mm-hmm. Obviously,
I feel like Skarsgård looked cool. As
very cool. Yeah.
Very fucking cool. That was a great casting. That's a great casting. They do a great
job of folding in other actors into the John Wick universe and making them incredible. I don't think they've missed once. I think the worst one that they had was Common, and Common was still pretty cool. Like it's crazy how they haven't really missed with any of their villains whatsoever.
It was first one, Dean Winters.
Dean Winters was like a side character. He wasn't like
himself.
They didn't have to fight him. He was like the financial advisor to that whatever his name, the Russian dude.
It took me out of the first movie so hard though. Mayhem.
What about seeing what's his name? Alfie Allen was the main target throughout that movie. People forget about that. What's his name from Theon Greyjoy? Yeah,
Reek.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks sick. I'm very into anything John Wick, and we obviously have the Continental series, and we also have the Ana de Armas spinoff. And what did she say about that? She said something about it, but I forget what it was.
She's producing it, and she hired she got fucking Emerald Fennell to
that's right,
to write and direct.
Right. Yeah, and I'm kind of pumped about that, obviously because of Promising Young Woman. So
yeah, and Gilmore Girls. Come on, give Fennell the.
I've actually been watching Gilmore Girls recently because my girlfriend loves it, and I've only watched it like a couple of times. First of all, Rory's an asshole. Rory sucks. She's the fucking worst. And the only person worse than her is Jess, played by Milo Ventimiglia or whatever his name is. He's terrible.
Man.
What a piece of shit he is in that show. And the fact that Rory picks him over Dean is like a fucking travesty. And also, I know, Gooch, you're a Supernatural guy. I did not realize that Dean was the Jensen Ackles co-star in Supernatural, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's a WB lifer.
Yeah. Exactly.
CWW.
That was a good bit in Nope, which I realized I forgot to talk about in retrospect. And not that it's a massive spoiler or anything, but with the CW bit where Angel talks about that was very funny. Got a big laugh.
We get into a bunch of the references in our Nope review, which you're gonna hear.
The John Wick show, definitely just a John Wick trailer. There's not much to talk about here. It
looked good. Like, I don't know.
They released a first image, and it was like first look at John Wick and John Wick Chapter 4. And it's like it was just like, yep, that's John Wick.
That's just John Wick again.
He's got a black suit on. He's got the long hair. How many more of these do you think he has in him? He is much older than people realize. He's like 60.
Yeah, he's quite old.
I don't know how many.
Good question.
Hopefully, like 5.
Yeah, look forward to it. This episode of Lights, Camera, Barstool, and we're going to the Comic-Con stuff is brought to you by BetterHelp. Folks, BetterHelp. A word from our sponsor, BetterHelp, might I add. you take care of everything in your life. Time to take care of yourself, especially your brains, your mental health, how we care for our minds. We experience life, in different ways. It's important we invest time into making sure that we are healthy and happy outside of work, outside of friend circles and family. Take care of yourself. There are plenty of ways to support a healthy brain. And now you have BetterHelp online therapy. Trust me, BetterHelp, great. You don't got to go anywhere. You don't need to have built-in excuses for yourself. There's no easier way to get out of therapy or talk to someone being like, I don't feel like going today. Guess what? You can just go online right there or chat. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat online therapy sessions. You don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. Much more affordable than in-person therapy. You match with a therapist in under 48 hours. It cuts out any excuse you have. Do not make excuses for yourself. Do BetterHelp. It's a great way to take care of yourself. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lights. It's BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/lights. A lot of Comic-Con stuff. We'll start with Marvel. First trailer for I Am Groot released. 5 shorts. Series will premiere on Disney Plus on August 10th. Seems cute. I don't got much to say about this.
Yeah, I will echo that.
It looks better than I expected. I'm still of the opinion that they need to pull back on some of these shows. Like this is going to be probably good, but
this seems like something I'm going to download and watch on my way to work.
It's just too much.
Perfect gap. It's the perfect 12-minute gap on my walk-in subway ride to work. Comes out August 10th on Disney Plus. Like I don't know. It's just like tiny Groot.
It's for kids. It's definitely
adorable and cute. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be probably memes and shit from it. I don't got much more on that. Spider-Man Freshman Year will not be on Disney Plus until 2024. It'll feature the Osborns, Doc Ock. No one truly knows if it's canon at this point. Seems like it might not be, but also sort of seems like it could be an alternate universe type thing. I don't know. I'd be very curious if this somehow ties into Spider-Verse at all. They seem to reference everything anyway. So I don't know. Maybe it will. That's complete speculation. Second season titled Sophomore Year already in the works. It doesn't come out until 2024. Tom Holland not voicing the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for anything Spider-Man because I think Spider-Man is one of the very few never missed characters in the any superhero genre. Like all the Spider-Man movies and all the Spider-Man actors, like everyone kind of like, I would say for the most part, like jives with them, even if it's like the Amazing Spider-Man, which doesn't perform as well. Like people like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. So I'm excited to see even like, again, the animated versions, like fucking Miles Morales is awesome. Like, I don't know. I think it'll be exciting to see like who gets cast and whatever. Cause obviously you can't really do Tom Holland here because the web series, whatever, but I don't know. Excited to see it.
They're going to bring back Drake Bell.
I think he's gone for good. Something tells me.
I'm cool with any animated, fun superhero-y thing. Like, give it a try.
I wish it wasn't so far away. That's quite the wait. I'm almost surprised they showed anything when it's that far out.
More from the animated panel. What If season 2 will be released in early 2023. I thought What If was fine. I don't really have a ton of thoughts on What If. What If could have not happened, then I'd have been perfectly okay with it. I like Jeffrey Wright's Watcher. I hope that's the thing that continues. I thought there was some very fun stuff in What If, and there was some other stuff in What If where I forgot about it right after I was done watching it. I still like the animation style.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. It wasn't something that held my attention particularly well, which is, I think, kind of a bummer, at least from my own personal thing. Again, everyone has their own different tastes in how they approach this stuff. But like when I watched What If, I was expecting it to really like blow my shit away, and I was just kind of like, yeah, it's interesting enough. And that was, to me, was kind of underwhelming, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the animation style a lot. It's very unique, but the stories themselves really didn't do much for me overall. Overarching, I think it was average at best. Again, like you said, Jeff, not something I really needed a second season of. I just think there's, like, I'll say it again, just a little too much on the MCU on this series. Yeah, I don't know. That's the next thing. More. Yeah, the next thing I'm actually pretty.
Marvel Zombies will be rated T. We don't know much about What If, but What If the first one had some zombies in it. Marvel Zombies rated TV MA. A lot of gore apparently in this. Disney is really prepping you for D23 when they announced their Deadpool 3, by the way. As they dropped it, Deadpool's gonna be coming to Disney Plus, all that.
And Logan,
and Logan. The Zombies, Abomination, Captain America, Captain Marvel. One I don't totally is that Black Widow? Maybe you have Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye. The hero team is very interesting. Ms. Marvel, Shang-Chi.
What's Jimmy Woo?
Yeah, Jimmy Woo.
Yeah,
they have a cool costume for him too. He's got the card.
He's got the card.
Yeah,
he's got the playing card doing magic. I believe that's Yelena.
Yes.
Yeah, but I also thought it might be Cassie Lang because that's now played by Catherine Newton. It looks like Catherine Newton has brown hair in Ant-Man.
It's actually it's Peggy Carter's niece that Captain America fucked.
Oh, Paige Carter. Oh fuck, what's her name? God damn it, Agent. God damn it, Peggy.
She's the she has a cool name.
Sharon Carter.
What's her nickname in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series?
Like the Power Broker?
Yeah, the Power Broker. Yeah.
Kate Bishop also in it. Yeah.
No, I mean, I had zero. This is one of the series that I was like, why the fuck is Marvel doing this? This is the dumbest idea ever. Because I'm not a big zombie person, couldn't care less.
Also read Guardians, David Harper.
I'm very excited for this series now. I'm interested to see what they do in a TV MA playing field. And this will be the first look at it.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how they actually approach it.
Will they do, or is it going to be they drop a fuck, like they're going to say fuck one time and be like, fuck, I'm getting eaten by a zombie.
Yeah, that's where I'm afraid is like they go on the softest end of MA. But like that's something where some shows and movies can use gore as a crutch, just like for the pure shock value. Yeah. And I think that if they use it more tactically, then it can be something that just makes it more interesting, especially when you go into the zombie genre that's, we've talked about it a million times, insanely oversaturated, and try to do something hopefully new and different.
X-Men 97 will premiere in fall 2023. That's disappointing. That's really far away.
They've hyped this up like it's coming soon.
that really, which by the way, Ms. Marvel, spoiler alert, she's a mutant. And they play the X-Men animated theme when they do their reveal. Ms. Marvel, anyway, I really liked. Really enjoyed that last episode. But it's a continuation of the 90s animated series. Magneto will lead the X-Men. I'm excited for this, whatever. I'm complaining about a release date, but I was pretty shocked when that tweet came across. I was like, what the fuck? We had to wait over a year for this? Because I really did think, I expected early 2022.
Yeah.
I thought we'd get at least a look. That's why I dropped that.
Yeah, we got just a peek.
But I thought there would at least be a teaser trailer that day, like some footage, something. They didn't even show, because sometimes they'll show footage at the panels that they don't release to the public. Like that happened with Guardians. Mm-hmm. I thought, maybe they'll just show some footage there. They didn't even show footage.
I would have loved just a little peek. Didn't have to go crazy.
But the design looks awesome. It looks just like the 90s version. I think it's very obvious that X-Men's not coming for a long time. It's not coming for a while, at least until this multiverse stuff is over. So 2026 earliest.
Come in the multiverse stuff. I think it's going to come in 2025. So? There's the we'll get into it in a second. We'll get into the timeline in a second. I think the X-Men stuff they're saving it for. They said that San Diego Comic-Con was not going to have crazy reveals, and I would say dropping the new 2 Avengers movies is a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah, that was.
I would assume they're going to do massive X-Men and Fantastic Four reveals at D23. That they're going to fill those timelines in. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm excited for this. I just wish it was sooner. I'm kind of bummed out.
Exactly.
Next up, She-Hulk. We'll get the live action stuff. New She-Hulk trailer. I thought this was a significant improvement on the first trailer. CGI was definitely altered for this trailer.
Yeah.
Because I think people noted it was much better. I'm still not fully amped for this, but there's some areas that kind of have me excited. Daredevil's at the end of the trailer. In a yellow suit, by the way. Yellow suit Daredevil. Daredevil shows up at the end. They don't do a full reveal, but you do see Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock. He is in the trailer. There's a lot of rumors that you're going to see the Thing in this. I don't know. There's a lot of rumors about this show. A lot of it, Emil Blonsky is the big part of the show. She represents him, Abomination, a lot of Bruce Banner. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I think this is a significantly better trailer than the first teaser we got. I think it's much better.
It's difficult for it not to be a better trailer than the last one because the first one looked like shit, and I still think this one looked like shit. It looks not funny. It looks not interesting, and it looks like it's going to suffer extremely, like I'd say, suffer badly because the Hulk is in this. I don't really think it's by any fault totally of Mark Ruffalo. The Hulk's the worst remaining Avenger. The Hulk is like the last guy on the roster I want to see put in more into the limelight. And I think that when you have him acting as mentor, which is the better for him because he works obviously with Thor Ragnarok better in like a buddy cop type situation, like that part of it is okay, but it still looks like shit. I think the CGI still looks terrible and like truly, truly awful. And something where like I hate watching the sort of like Marvel slander that goes around like every single time by like the irony poison people that only watch like A24 shit. And they're like, oh, well, this is why I prefer watching Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Oh, that's not A24. That's a terrible example. But I try to make up a name, and that's something that sounds like it would be an A24 movie. But like a lot of the criticisms you'll see from that sort of part of the community are very accurate here, where it's like very much well, that just happened shit, and also just the awful VFX, the pretty bad lines throughout, and just like it just doesn't seem interesting at all. And like this is right now we're at a point with Marvel shows where they're not justifying the amount of shows they have because like what 1 in every 10 so far is good, and like that is not, I think, something that's or sustainable for Marvel because people were worried about Marvel fatigue with just the amount of movies, the sheer level or sheer number of movies that were coming out. Now we have like a shit ton of these shows. None of them are really landing the way I think they hope they would. And I think that it's really going to add towards that Marvel fatigue. And I think this is a great example of one where we didn't need it, and it's going to add towards that fatigue in a bad way.
Yeah. I will say, though, we were so down on Ms. Marvel, and I ended up enjoying, I don't know, a good amount of it at least. It was better than I thought it was. I think there was a middle part of Ms. Marvel that was not very good. It was not very
when
good.
She went to the other country, it was bad.
And still nothing has really come close to WandaVision, and WandaVision for me didn't come close to Loki. It's like the gap is the tier gaps of MCU shows is massive.
Yes.
But I really can't agree with much of what you just said. But at least it improved upon the first trailer.
Yeah, again.
I'm with you there. I think the VFX still terrible. Yeah, I have just very low expectations for this series.
It's kind of funny. We actually talked about it. We actually talked about it on that. Well, no, we're actually talking. We haven't talked about it yet on this show. We talked about it earlier when we recorded. We recorded the show out of order. We will talk about later how Corridor Digital, the YouTube channel, they break down visual effects and everything. They had on the guy who did the Scorpion King thing. And he also did Davy Jones. Davy Jones is like goated.
Best.
And Dwayne Johnson, Scorpion King, is like the worst. Now, way different. He talks about it in the video. Great video, by the way. No reference. They really had no reference shots of Dwayne Johnson at the time in that role. He was on set for 3 days. He said, look, it's not great, but like we were really hamstrung. But he did mention too, he said there's a little bit of a different thing with Davy Jones, where Davy Jones looks great, but Davy Jones is not a human. And there isn't that uncanny valley. Like he really is like a thing that you've never seen, where like you can really make a great human with CGI. But think about the ones we've seen. Think about Leia, right? Think about some of like the weirder like humanized version CGI thing. Even like Paul Walker at the end of
Henry Cavill's mustache.
Yeah, there's a little weird thing. And I don't think Jessica Walter looks great in this. But I also don't think like Bruce Banner's ever looked like
I don't think Marvel's ever gotten.
It's one of those weird things where like he's green and she's green, but they're still people, and I think it's still like worse. That weird like you're like
they should have made her more jacked because I think that's where you get like a level of suspension of disbelief with the Hulk is easier because he's just insanely jacked, like comically huge, and like the fact that She-Hulk is just like slightly tall and like not even particularly muscular is like it makes you think like this is just almost like an Avatar person but green, and like that is
that is what she looks like in the comics. She does look, she's not like the Hulk where she
should be massively jacked. It's fucked up. It's actually quite sexist in my opinion that they don't make her massively jacked in the same vein as the Hulk.
That's She-Hulk. At the end, though, you see Daredevil, and Daredevil season 4 will be titled Daredevil Born Again. 18 episodes in length.
Can't wait.
Premieres in 2024, which is a reason why I actually thought it might be later than that. Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio back. I don't have a ton to say on this. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna rewatch. I'm gonna start rewatching Daredevil, though. I will say that.
She didn't even have good traps. Like, what the fuck? At least give her like steroid traps. Come on.
They took that one shot. They took the one shot out where she carries him to the bedroom like a little baby.
Yeah, that's right.
They will.
That was the best part. Yeah.
Charlie Cox will be in She-Hulk, and I imagine he'll be in.
He's in a lot of stuff, right?
He'll be in other stuff as Daredevil between now and the Daredevil show.
They're treating him. He's like their little R2-D2 now. He's just gonna.
Yeah, well, he also said he is gonna lead the street team for Marvel. So like he is like the street level, like,
which good for him because he's really good in that role.
Yeah, and he obviously loves it. It sucks ass that we interviewed him before we could talk about it.
Damn it.
He's a very grounded character in Marvel, which I think they need a lot more of that. And so I'm really excited for it. Hopefully it'll be, they didn't confirm whether or not it'll be TVMA, but you have to think that.
Yeah, I think that's a big Band-Aid they're going to rip at D23. Which sounds so dumb to say, but there are people who really hate that Disney like puts that stuff on Disney Plus. So Thunderbolts. This is another fucking stupid thing that was announced. So they never actually said why Russell's going to be in it. I do want to note that.
They haven't confirmed any of the cast.
Yeah,
right?
they confirmed any of the cast.
Yeah.
It's basically going to be Marvel's Suicide Squad, releasing in July 2024. Okay, I think we knew this. This is cool. I don't know what they're going to do about General Ross. He's not
passed away.
So I don't know what they're going to do about that. Literally Thunderbolt Ross. So that's that. The big trailer, though, was Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Crazy good trailer. Like, legitimately one of the best trailers I've ever seen for a comic book movie. It was fucking awesome. Crazy emotional. Really cool. And it's American. Keep in mind, this is a teaser. Really cool epic shots. First look.
Namor.
It's Namor, who's the villain.
Yeah.
And I do want to say...
Which character are you looking for?
I want to say
Cole.
I know it's Huerta. That's his last name, but Tena Huerta. That's who's playing him. Namor looks awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
the water stuff looks very cool.
Like leader of the Avatar.
Another water movie releasing before Avatar, by the way.
Yeah, and they're blue people. It looks like too.
Hits theaters in November. Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Denai Guerrera, Letitia Wright, and who is playing? I forget her name. Who is playing Ironheart? Dominique Thorne.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Playing Ironheart. Riri Williams, which is a big Disney Plus series, which will be on its way. I don't know when that comes out. Is that 2023?
They didn't mention it at D23 or at a Comic-Con, which is weird, but I saw the guy who's the showrunner for it said, like, yeah, I promise it's still coming. It's still on the docket or whatever.
Oh, that was Armor Wars.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is Armor Wars, yeah.
Ironheart looks like it's releasing fall 2023. And she's kind of like next Iron Man. The shots that she kind of has like the hammer hit like Tony Stark does, making the suits. She's a big part of the movie. Wakanda Forever. There's a lot of rumors that Doctor Doom might be involved. That Doctor Doom may show up at the end. Doctor Doom's like company and everything. Like they kind of set off the events that have Namor attack Wakanda. A lot of it is about the Ironheart character and her being introduced into Marvel and her being protected. A lot of it's about who's the next Black Panther. Some say, is it Shuri? Is it M'Baku? There's a lot of little storylines that are going to center obviously around the death of T'Challa, who passes in the movie. Obviously, that's how they're going to handle it. Impossible task for Ryan Coogler and company to replace such an iconic character, but they are going to deal with the passing. Trailer is... I think the trailer is fucking... I watched it like 3 times when it came out. I was in a car on the way back from somewhere, and I was like, holy shit, that was insane. The use of Kendrick Lamar's All Right. Like, it's just so well done. And I don't know if this movie is going to be any good. I like Black Panther a lot, But there's just something about Ryan Coogler. I think he's going to pull it off. I think there's a lot of moving parts to this movie. There's a lot they have to cover. Who is Black Panther? How many Black Panthers are there? Like, what are they going to do? Namor, the Ironheart stuff. I just trust Ryan Coogler. And I've seen a lot of people saying, like, I have no idea how they're going to do this. How are they going to make this good? How is this going to be any good? I think they have a fucking great visionary behind the camera. And I think there's so much care put in. I don't know. It's one of those weird, like, there's not like concrete evidence to say it's going to be any good, but like, don't you just have an odd feeling that like this movie that's going to honor Chadwick Boseman, the character, is just going to be like at least good? Maybe not great, maybe not Best Picture nominee, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying divine intervention as a non-religious fella, but like, I don't know. I just have this odd feeling it's going to be good. I don't know why.
You know what it reminds me of? And I don't mean this to be like insensitive, but like, you know, when a team like goes through, like any kind of sports team goes through something traumatic, and then the next game they come out and they play just better than they ever have. That's kind of the vibe that
there's just so much. This is an emotional fucking trailer, and it's such a weird thing to say, but like they're literally reacting to their friend dying in this movie. Like it's not like the character, like their friend, like I don't know, like there's just something with this, and there's so many good actors and actresses, and like I don't know, I would just be very, and the music is gonna fucking slap with Ludwig Göransson. Like I don't know, man. I have a good feeling about this movie. I don't know what this movie's gonna make a fuckload of money. By the way, this movie is gonna make so much fucking money. It's nuts.
Yeah,
thank you, Venom.
Exactly. Another movie to thank Venom for. I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, the trailer looked awesome. Wakanda is, I think, the richest and most interesting world Marvel has ever established, and we have gotten a criminally low usage of it between just the one Black Panther and then Infinity War, which really doesn't do much as far as like getting a chance to explore all that stuff. And even in Black Panther itself, like we don't get a ton of more depth into the region or country or whatever. I think this movie we're going to get to explore a lot more of that. We're going to get to see, kind of like you were saying, like this is an interesting process, I guess, for the actors involved, because they are sort of like acting through their grief of losing their real life friend and also their fictional friend, I guess, too. So it's going to be interesting to see that element of it, how they handle Chadwick and all that. And I'm fascinated to see how I think Lillian Wright is going to be the new Black Panther because she's like primary billing or whatever. So Letitia. Interesting to see how. Yeah, sorry, Letitia Wright. She's going to be the new one. Fascinating to see how they deal with that, and just how they sort of work around this whole conflict with Namor and the undersea people. So very fascinated by it. Music was great, like you were saying. The Kendrick Lamar remix was really, really cool. The colors in this, like it was so fucking. It was like the hues, all the hues, the CMYK.
That's what stuck out to me.
The RGBs, man, looked absolutely gorgeous. Really, really pretty looking movie so far. So yeah, I'm pumped up for it as much as anyone else, I think. Definitely, as far as the upcoming Marvel release schedule, I'd say like Guardians 3, I have the most invested in personally, but I would say Wakanda Forever is like right after that for sure.
Yeah, no, I think it's like Jeff said, it's one of the better comic book trailers I've ever seen. And they knew it. They dropped it. 2.5 minute long trailer, not just a teaser. It looked great. And I think a lot of the comments on social media that I saw, feedback wise, people were shocked by how good this looks. I really hope we get a good movie, because it would be a damn shame if we didn't. Be really sad, actually. It'd be really fucking sad if this movie wasn't great. I'm looking forward to it a lot more than I was.
Yeah, let's look at the overarching phase 5 of the MCU. Kicks off next year. So Black Panther Wakanda Forever ends it, right? I'm not saying that wrong.
That should be right. Yeah.
Okay. So phase 5, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, so actually we have those trailers. We watched those. So let's describe them. Those are released. They were leaked online. Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer, I believe. You definitely see Bill Murray's character. who is a person who lives, I believe, in the quantum realm, from what I've gathered from what people have said.
So yeah, you won't believe it. You won't believe it, but I was in the quantum realm, and you're never gonna believe who I saw. Bill Murray just hanging out.
Modok's in the trailer, apparently. Modok, which there was an animated version of that character voiced by Patton Oswalt. Some rumors that character is a quantum realm being created from Corey Stoll's Yellow Jacket character, because he never died in the first Ant-Man. He just kind of went subatomic. That's a crazy fucking character. Would be very cool to see him in live action. You also see at the end Kang. Kang the Conqueror has a great line where Ant-Man says he's an Avenger, and Kang the Conqueror in the trailer says, "I'm a Conqueror." Jonathan Majors is going to be the driving force for the next two phases. The Multiverse Saga.
So Feige said.
Did you see that quote from Feige? Put it up today.
It goes actually, on Phase 4, 5, and 6. Phase 4, 5, and 6 are the Multiverse Saga. Kang the Conqueror is the big bad. I wouldn't be shocked if we see another big bad introduced in there a little bit, but Kang the Conqueror is the big bad going forward for the Multiverse Saga, which is the follow-up to the Infinity Saga, which was phases 1 through 3. Phase 4, 5, and 6, which will conclude with the Avengers, which we'll get to in a second. I mean, the trailer is tough to watch, but Jonathan Majors is awesome, right? Isn't that the main takeaway of these trailers? Also, his trailer had a very serious vibe to it. You see Catherine Newton as well, who is the recasted Cassie Lang, daughter of Ant-Man.
That's the best acting. I mean, top 3 acting we've seen in any Marvel anything. I'll stand by that. His appearance, his appearance in Loki was so fucking good, so captivating that I'll just go back and rewatch that final episode. I've watched that final episode probably 4 or 5 times. He's really, really fucking good in that role, and he's gonna have a chance to play it several different ways. I'm assuming with the multiverse stuff, there'll be multiple different Kangs and different personalities in that. And the quote from Feige was, there's nobody's shoulders I'd rather be putting the Multiverse Saga on than his. So he's going to be carrying this thing, which Waldron actually DM'd us that quote and was like, "Goat." He just said "goat" about Jonathan Majors. So yeah, I couldn't really see much of the trailer that we have is very, very janky, very bootleg. Like I said, taken from behind the Wedding Crashers 2 booth. It's I like Ant-Man, so I'm actually looking forward to this.
After that, in the MCU, in Phase 5, we have Secret Invasion, which is a Disney Plus series. I'm actually really excited for this. This comes out in spring 2023. Samuel Jackson back as Nick Fury. He's working with the Skrulls in deep space. Ben Mendelsohn back as Talos. Kobe Smulders back as Maria Hill. Martin Freeman back as Everett Ross, who is in Wakanda Forever, by the way.
I like him.
So I assume there could be a little connection there at the end of Wakanda Forever. Don Cheadle back as Rhodey, War Machine. Kingsley Ben-Adir is also in this as the lead villain. Olivia Colman is in this, Academy Award winner. Amelia Clark is in this. Also,
not Reggie Jean Page.
Apparently not. They erroneously said he's in it. Something tells me he's in it. They have to go on Twitter and correct it and say we said he's in. He's not.
He's fucking in it.
He's definitely in it. Christopher McDonald, aka Shooter McGavin, is in the show. And then Dermot Mulroney is apparently playing the President of the United States in the show. So that is the next thing. Very scroll heavy. That's going to be I would imagine a pretty important show going forward with what happens in the MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 2023. We just watched this trailer. Not totally easy to see. Set to the Flaming Lips song, Do You Realize? Apparently Rocket Raccoon's origin is a big part of it. You see a baby rocket. Disney and their fucking babies. Oh my god.
If anything fucking happened, the way they show them in the trailer is so sad.
Yeah.
If anything fucking happened, if they show anything happening to him, I'll show up to James Gunn's house. And
people seem to think he's going to leave the Guardians early in the movie. And that's not even a leak. That's just a rumor. You see our good friend, Will Poulter, as Adam Warlock. He looks awesome. He looked fucking ripped on stage. Holy shit.
Super sexy, bro. our good boy.
He looks fucking huge.
Whatever he's
do you remember
massive character?
Do you remember, and
good for him.
You're probably some of the people who did this, but when that movie We Are the Millers came out, so many people made fun of him for being ugly, and now he's like the hottest man on earth. It's incredible to turn around.
Listen, he was a goofy looking kid. There's no way around.
He was nothing crazy about that.
And that was like, he worked it to his credit. He used it to his advantage and acted his balls off in We Are the Millers and used every bit of that to his advantage and was funny as hell. And now he's hot as shit. And just like, he looks like a fucking NFL quarterback. He looks like a tight end.
He does.
Adam Warlock, for those who don't know, and I don't even know the best backstory. I know Adam Warlock, like I know the character. Adam Warlock in the actual Infinity War, like he wields the gauntlet. Like he is a very big part of that. Obviously, the story changed around. We are just now going to meet Adam Warlock, but man, does he look fucking cool. And I imagine he's a character that sticks around for quite a while in Marvel lore. That's Gamora in the trailer is leading the Ravagers. So a lot of this is the end. They say this is the end. They say they are going to face the music. So I cannot wait to see what the fucking soundtrack for this is. But apparently the trailer's not out because the VFX are not fully finished.
I like them saying that. I like him just coming out and saying, listen, these effects aren't finished. That's why the trailer's not going out.
Yep.
That way if he gets leaked and people are like, it looks like shit, he can just be like, I told you, the fucking effects aren't finished.
Yep. May 2023, that movie's going to do crazy. Summer 2023, Echo, that's a spinoff of Hawkeye and Daredevil.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah, I really don't care about that. Whatever. This I care about. Summer 2023, Loki season 2. We're going to probably see stuff for that in the fall. Very potent.
They've been filming it. I've seen a lot of the set photos were leaking a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
I'm pumped for Loki season 2. The Marvels, which I am pretty excited for this as well. A good tease at the end of Captain Marvel. I won't say it. I don't want to spoil it. I think there's going to be a lot of ties with the Marvels to other Marvel properties. Like people complain about Phase 4 not having a lot of connectivity. Phase 5 is going to have a ton of connectivity, especially the Marvels. November 2023, Blade. Mahershala Ali's Blade. That I'm amped for.
Cannot wait for that.
Fall 2023, right after that, Ironheart, which I'm actually pretty excited about Ironheart too. Especially if we're going to have a lot of connection to what I think is going to be Doctor Doom. I think there's going to be a lot of connection to Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom and Wakanda Forever. She's literally in Wakanda Forever. So looking forward to that. Going from what I'm looking forward to, what I'm not looking forward to, Agatha, Coven of Chaos. They changed the title.
They got to cancel that. They got to cancel it.
They just need to cancel that.
Nobody needs that.
I don't think we need that. She was really good in the show. She was great.
It was fun. But
what are we doing if you expound on it? That's insane. It's totally insane.
That's like, I'm trying to think of like who else they could do. Like, what are we going to do? Give Miss Minutes. Give me the Miss Minutes animated series. Like that's basically what it is. Like, just taking a fun character.
Thunderbolt Ross origin story. Actually, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Just cancel it. It can't be that hard.
Show. Don't tell Waldron that he'll make it. After that, we have Daredevil Born Again, 18 episodes in spring of 2024. Agatha Coven of Chaos is winter 2023, and then early 2024. And then to round out Phase 5, as of now, Captain America: New World Order, which was the title of the first episode of Captain America: Falcon Winter Soldier. So that is Phase 4. And then Phase 5 only has 3 things. There's 11 slots for movies and shows with 3 things. It kicks off. So right now, it kicks off with Fantastic Four. It seems as though fall 2024, there will be something else. D23, Disney's convention, apparently is going to have massive reveals. I think you're going to get the whole Fantastic Four cast. I would be shocked if we don't get that. That is going to be in the fall of this year in September. Fall 2024, empty slot. November 2024, Fantastic Four. Fall 2024, empty slot. Winter 2024, empty. Winter 2025, meaning January 2025, empty.
Jesus.
Spring 2025, empty. Spring 2025, empty. May 2025, Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. So I would imagine this is the Kang movie as Infinity War was the Thanos movie.
Mm-hmm.
I about pissed myself when I saw this on Twitter, by the way. I did not think they were going to reveal this.
Me neither.
They said they weren't. They're like, we're not going to do it. There's like, they dumbed it down. They were like, it's not going to be like the D23, the San Diego Comic Con a few years ago, where Mahershala Ali walked out on stage. Summer 2025 empty. Summer 2025 empty. And then the same year, Avengers Secret Wars, which Secret Wars geeks people out as much as the word Civil War and Infinity Gauntlet. So that's a huge deal. How's it going to end? Who's going to be involved? There's a lot of empty slots. There's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of Deadpool and a lot of X-Men in those empty slots. And I think we're about to find all of it out in the fall.
I hope so. Yeah. I really do.
I think D23 is going to reveal a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was very one of the funnier tweets I saw was like, because DC, if you don't know, went early in the day. They were one of the first day, went around like 1:00, and Marvel got up, I think, around 6 at the panels at Comic-Con. Someone was like, yeah, DC probably thought they knocked it out of the park. They brought Rock out on stage. They dropped 2 big trailers. And then fucking Kevin Feige just steps up on the stage and just drops like just like 5 years of content, like all these titles, 2 new Avengers movies, announces the Fantastic Four title, like gets that out of the way. Like,
yeah,
it's just, you feel bad for DC almost. Like, it's like the second Kevin Feige gets on a stage, just like,
yeah,
just is rewriting Hollywood. Like,
and then the 3 things from DC. The first trailer for Shazam! Fury of the Gods, starring Zachary Levi, Rachel Zegler, who was in West Side Story, Helen Mirren, Adam Brody, Lucy Liu, Jack Dylan Grazer comes out December 21st. I'm looking forward to this. I like the first Shazam. It was fun. It wasn't great. It was fun. It was. I think I had like an 83, 84. I think Zachary Levi's great in the role. Helen Mirren being like a villainish character, I think is very funny.
The Fast and Furious reference got a chuckle.
Right at her. Fast and Furious' own Helen Mirren.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I liked it. I'm looking forward to Shazam! Fury. It looks a lot of fun.
It would have been funny if who isn't. Like, I've seen Hobbs and Shaw. I know it's about family because that's the one she was more featured in.
I don't know, right? Like, is it crazy to be excited for this? I think
no. I like the first, unlike the other Robbie Fox, who fucking hates
this movie. I look at Robbie.
I don't know how you could hate the first
in theaters. I'm like, hey, and if that's not a Marvel DC thing. Remember, Robbie Fox is a Batman guy first and foremost. I looked at Robbie. I'm like, hey, you want to stay at the post credit? He goes, let's get out of here. He goes, I gotta leave. I gotta get out of here. He hated it so much.
I thought it's like it's a very fun, like, it's a very family take on a superhero movie, and I like that. It's a very nice little family. And I admittedly love Zach Levi almost in everything he's done. He's also up on stage talking about Chuck when they were doing the panel. People were asking about Chuck. I think it looks good. And Rachel Zegler, I'm excited to see where she goes and like how her career kind of takes off, because I thought she was great in West Side Story.
Yeah, the trailer was like. Here's the thing with this, right? It's like it has that classic DC shine of looking like garbage CGI, which like every one of their movies has. Like if they have like their VFX at their height is as bad as Marvel is right now, where they're stretched across 50 different projects.
Oh come on, Man of Steel had great VFX. Come on, I'll defend them there.
One of the greatest lines of history was
don't talk about Zack Snyder in front of me.
One of the great Man of Steel lines was Michael Shannon as General Zod saying, I'm going to burn this whole planet down. And then Henry Cavill, completely horizontal at this point. Like he's just hovering above the ground, horizontal. It's the most bizarre thing. He's like 5 feet off the ground. He goes, you're a monster, Zod, and I'm going to stop you. That's like something that Sorkin wishes he could write. But yeah, just got that weird sheen to it. But I do agree with the family and like sort of high energy element to it. It's like a very Zach Levi energy type movie, which is perfect because he's a star. So I think that part of it is fun. It's not a movie where I'm gonna like set my watch to watching Shazam, or same thing with Black Adam, or really anything DC. Like I'm never going to go into it with like super high anticipation like I would be with like Guardians 3 or whatever. But like I almost think that's better for them, where the expectations are so low that people go into the movies and they leave very pleasantly surprised, which is I think a place that they thrive in, like what they did with Shazam.
Yeah. No, there's not much to break down there. I kind of hope they get some they got that Zatanna movie coming up, the Emerald Fennell, once again bringing her up. She's writing that. Kind Kind of hope they get Zatanna going soon. I don't know where they're at on that.
Let's move on to Shazam's friend Black Adam, though.
Can we just talk about for a second? No, wait. Can we talk about The Rock's entrance to Comic-Con?
He thinks that fucking Black Adam is Superman, dude. Like, he thinks he's like the biggest character on Earth. Nobody is a bigger believer.
He came into Comic-Con like it was Monday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, I don't think this movie's gonna flop. But man, it'd be the funniest fucking thing in the world. I don't know why. I think it's going to.
I think it's going to.
I don't know.
I think The Rock has lost his. I don't think he's going to be able to push this one. It's got a stink. It's got a stink on it that I don't know if he could. There's something about this movie that I just screams flop.
I think something that The Rock doesn't totally grasp onto is that when he enters that place and like everyone goes fucking ballistic, right? I think something he doesn't realize is that people are going ballistic because he's The Rock and not because Black Adam is like being any sort of hype. Like, they're going nuts because he's the biggest movie star in the world right now, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he's playing this like fucking C-T or DC superhero in a movie that looks like shit.
The brutal part for DC fans too was like it was rumored for like 2 weeks that fucking Henry Cavill was going to show up to this thing.
Yeah.
And then during the panel, they were almost like teasing it. Like there was like these weird like Superman comments during the panel. And so you're like, oh shit, they're going to bring out Henry Cavill. They're going to do it. Like The Rock is like, depends on, like someone asked him who would win in a fight, Black Adam or Superman. And he's like, well, depends on who's playing Superman. And then like, he's like, I'll just say that. And like looked around. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, they gotta recast Superman. Like, the problem is they don't have a Superman, they don't have a Batman for their like continued universe, and that is just that is DC. Like,
it's still like just a mess. I don't know.
It's still a mess, and that's a bummer because the Batman just came out, and it was one of the best comic book movies in years.
Yeah. It's like when they want to do it great, they do. But it's either greatness from DC or just dog shit.
And Peacemaker was great, and the Suicide.
Yeah, I think Black Adam is going to suck bad. I think it's going to be a bad movie. I don't know why.
Dr. Fate's a really cool character.
Yeah, I do like Pierce Brosnan. I'm most excited about Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, and our friend Aldous Hodge.
That's right. 2 times.
And Ken Jack's favorite, Noah Centineo.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't even get to see his face. I didn't. At least I didn't.
I'm worried he's a little too beefed up. I think he beefed up a little too much for this role. I don't remember Paul McCartney ever being that jacked. So he's got to be playing all those Beatles.
First full-length trailer for Netflix adaptation of The Sandman released.
This I'm actually really excited for. I don't know if you guys are familiar with The Sandman, but it's like one of the most highly regarded comic books of all time. It's got a really cool lore, really cool premise to it. I think the trailer, the effects looked about as good as Netflix has ever done. It could be something big for them. I do think that it's not connected to the DCEU at all, but
thank God,
it looks good.
If it's not connected, I'm sure it's gonna be really good then.
Yeah,
great. It's a great song.
Yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's Comic-Con. A lot of shit.
Wait, did you talk about Groovy Baby?
I did not. The guy who...
That's one of the funniest... That's literally...
Well, you got to play it. Play the clip.
Let's see if I can find it.
That was one of the great videos.
Oh, wait. I can screen share. Hold on.
I texted Troll the TikTok when I originally saw it immediately. Because I was like, that is the most
What's your favorite part about being here? Groovy Baby? You look shagadelic. Thank you so much.
It's a guy at Comic-Con, right?
It's a guy at Comic-Con.
It's not even the Comic-Con. It's not even the Comic-Con. It's like the Dallas metro area.
Wait, what? I thought that they came out.
What? It's like the Dallas metro area.
It's a guy dressed in like a really... It's an okay Austin Powers outfit. Just play the whole clip. Play the whole clip
Austin Powers.
What's your favorite part about being here?
You
look shagadelic. Yeah, thank you so much. What's your favorite part about being here? Groovy Baby? You look shagadelic.
The fear in his eyes. The fear in his eyes.
And his voice.
when he gets the question, "What's your favorite part about being here?" He panicked.
It's so like, you know the meme of the car veering off like the exit on the highway. His brain, he went, "Do I do I break character and say my favorite part, or do I stay in character and do an Austin Powers line?" The car split in half, and he broke character, but still did an Austin Powers line. It's nuts.
Whenever I get a question,
his hair kills me.
His hair is so bad; it's the worst wig you've ever seen. I'm not trying to shit on this guy too much. It's so funny.
Also, shout out to the cameraman for just like walking right up to us and be like, "You look shagadelic, baby." The cameraman knew there was going to be a great reply. He knew it. He's like, "This guy's got something."
he tried to get away after the first question because he knew he was in trouble. He started to walk away after the first compliment, and he's like, "Wait, what's your favorite part about being here?" And he just goes, "Groovy Baby."
I think he assumed he read the first half of the sentence, and he thought he was going to say like, "What's your favorite Austin Powers quote?" And then he realized mid delivery of "Groovy Baby" that's not what he asked. And that's why it came out as like a question. Fascinating, dude.
Oh my god. Oh fuck. All right, that's it for news. 3G. Whether you live in a state where marijuana is legal or not, 3G now offers fairly legal dispensary-grade Delta-9 THC products that deliver straight to your door. In case you didn't know, Delta-9, it's active ingredient marijuana that gets you high, which means 3G is now selling the same edibles you get from marijuana dispensary, but at a much lower price, and it delivered to your door. They got like a little creamsicle one. It's delicious. How's this possible, folks? Science is the answer. 3G uses Delta-9 from hemp, which is the exact same as taking it from marijuana, because it makes their products federally legal. You will feel high from this. Get 5% off all 3G 3 CHI premium THC products by going to 3G.com. That's the number 3CHI.com. And use promo code STOOL5. Take 5% off your order. Must be 21 or older to purchase. All right, now we have an interview with William Jackson Harper. You know him from The Good Place. You know him from, I almost said Hereditary. He's not, man. He's in Midsummer. Fun one there. And then reviews of Nope and The Gray Man. All right, we are joined now by William Jackson Harper. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your long junket day. We're on the early end of. We usually get the tail end of junkets. Usually we really got to put on a show, but maybe we don't have to today. How's everything going with you? You got a brand new, very intriguing show coming out.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, man. And just to say, I am going to rely on y'all to bring the show, because just because, and but like, we're out here talking about The Resort.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I'll read the quick synopsis. Noah and Emma are vacationing in the Mayan Riviera at the Oceana Vista Resort for their 10th anniversary. Noah has been content with life, whereas Emma feels like their marriage isn't advancing. They are then pulled into an unsolved mystery of two missing persons 15 years ago, which test the resolve of their marriage. July 28th on Peacock. Not just you, Krista Milioti, Nick Offerman, Skylar Gisondo, Dylan Baker, the minds behind. If you're not someone who's in like the media end of things, you haven't watched the show yet, but if you've seen the trailer and you look at the trailer, and not just because of your co-star, you go, "Ooh, this has some Palm Springs vibes to it." The minds behind Palm Springs also involved here, Mr. Robot as well. It is a dark comedy, mystery, incredibly intriguing. Can you liken it to anything that exists already?
I really can't. It's I sort of feel like it in a lot of ways, it reminds me of sort of like, in certain episodes, it's kind of a weird Blue Valentine sort of a thing. In other ways, it's kind of like a Fear and Loathing kind of thing. Other times it's, Jurassic Park. And so it's just sort of all over the place in a really interesting way.
In a series like this, and before we go later, where there's a movie that you were in that I definitely want to talk with you about, for stuff like that, I mean, it's Midsummer. I don't know why I'm like hiding, like pretending like nobody knows what it is. But like in something like that, where, and they're very, very, very different things, but where there is like a mystery as an actor, when you receive a script and you receive a pitch, I guess it's like a 3-pronged question. Do you like knowing ahead of time what happens at the end? Do you prefer to know, or are you required to know what happens, like a mystery like this? Does it help or hurt, like you playing a character when there is a mystery involved here?
Oh, well, I mean, it's like they just send you the whole script. I mean, it's like, there's, if there was an option to not know things, sometimes that would be great. But, like you kind of know where things are headed. I think the real sort of trouble comes in when like you've read the whole thing and then you're just sort of like, wait, do I know this by this point in the story when you're shooting things? And sort of keeping that sort of dramaturgy intact, like what do I know? What do I not know? What am I coming from? What am I about to see that's going to sort of flip everything on its head? And but it is. I feel like in general, like the more information, the better. Just because you can layer in things that might play really well later. And the cool thing about film is that you can shoot it a bunch of different ways, and if that choice that you made fits with the story and fits with some of the other stuff that you were doing earlier on in the script, it'll stay. And if you just really biffed it and made a terrible choice, then they can just get rid of it.
I love that, keeping like your dramatic continuity intact, basically, so that everything stays like on that same level. That's smart. As far as dark comedy goes, I feel like there's sort of like a balance that has to be struck, right? Where it's like you need to get not equal parts, but like you need to find your own balance of comedy again, as opposed to like the darkness. How do you think you find that as an actor versus like, how the showrunners found it?
Well, I think, I mean, for me, like I love dark comedy because usually you find yourself, at least I find myself laughing and feeling like I really shouldn't be. Like that's sort of the sweet spot where you're just like, oh no, like that sort of laugh. And so like, I feel like sometimes in a dark comedy, it allows for the stakes to be just as high as the joke. And so like you can be in this situation that is completely dire and just playing the scene without an eye towards making sure that the jokes are landing. I think that, it's more about the situation around it is a little ridiculous. Your reaction might just be a little weird. And I feel like in dark comedy, you're allowed to just sort of allow for some of those weird idiosyncratic things to make their way into certain scenes that perhaps in something that's more solidly in a dramatic genre or like a thriller or action genre would have to be played dead straight. And so it's I kind of like that. It's in a way there's something a little bit more freeing about it.
For sure. Something that I think we both noticed about this series, just in like the technical aspects of it, is that you're dropping 3 episodes on the premiere date, and you're saving the rest for week-to-week drop. I say you're dropping it as if like you're the one in charge of all these options over at Peacock. Yeah, but
right, I am.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's something, it's a technique that I think, at least for Jeff and I, we appreciate that way more than the classic binge model, which was kind of some standard for streaming over the course of like, I would say 2 years. But now we're back to this model where we have time to anticipate things. We have time to talk about them, digest them, like, and all that gets out into social. People get to talk about it and hype up for the next episode. Do you prefer that model towards the binge like we do?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. I like 100%. It's, you need to give people a chance to digest, as you're saying, but it's like, it sort of takes away the pressure to make sure that you're catching up to a certain degree. I mean, granted, like once everything's dropped, and you haven't watched it, you have to go back and just sort of like binge it, but like if you are on like in that first wave of people that are watching things, like there's a lot of stuff that no one knows. And, when you're talking about it and you're all sort of, like checking in, it's like, like with Game of Thrones, like people would like talk about all this stuff, like, at work or at the bar or whatever. And then they would, they couldn't wait they would, make projections about the next week, who would die, who would live, how, all that stuff. And like that sort of, that's kind of fun. It just makes it a little bit more communal. when you're able to just kind of like sit with a story that's developing and sort of let your brain take you where you think, where you think the story is going to go. And it's also, there's just so much content that you really need to give people a chance to just feel like they can just watch one episode. And they're not dreadfully behind, and so I like that. And I kind of like the appointment television aspect of things. I miss that.
Better than the info dump. We have one last quick thing on this because we do want to talk to you about a bunch of things. We have a sick obsession with Skylar Gisondo. We refer to him as the Jizz Man affectionately. We love him that much. Can you confirm to us that he is a sweetheart in real life?
That dude is amazing. He is the sweetest dude. He's actually nicer than you would think.
Really? And we think he would be so nice. So that's a huge compliment.
He's a gem of a human being. He's wonderful. He loves fast casual dining. He's real laid back.
See, that's why we've never had him on this pod. See, now that you just said that, now it's like, because all we do is talk about fast food and fast casual dining. So it's like,
oh, well, you got to have him. That's his
what are we doing here?
We try to take him to these fancy restaurants. He's just like, I don't know, man. The calorie to dollar amount ratio is just way off for me. And so, like,
I love that.
No,
it's no Ruby Tuesdays. Sorry.
Pizza. You got to get him. You got to get him. He's the best.
Did you actually? I will about the resort. By the way, July 28th. Was it? Were you filming on location, Mine Riviera, or another resort?
We were actually shooting in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic.
So that had to be a nice. I didn't want to be like, oh, that must have been a nice to film in a tropical place, but then really you were filming in like an indoor water park
in
somewhere
Atlanta,
or something.
Oh,
I just wanted to make sure.
No,
Kalahari Resort in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
No, man, we were shooting, but I'll tell you what, though, man, it's like it's hot, and we're outside a lot, and so it's cool for like the first hour or so. You're like, oh, this is amazing, and then about hour 4 or 5, you're just sort of like, I just want to go inside. I just need to go inside. I need some water. I need to go inside. So it's a mixed bag, but yeah, I mean, it's nice to not have to wear a coat. You're never cold. I mean, that's
yeah. July 28th on Peacock, the resort. I mentioned Midsummer. We got to talk Midsummer before we kicked off here talking to you today. One of the best movies in the last few years. Can you even begin to give us an insight into the mind of Ari Aster and what goes through his head, especially with only 2 movies, but one that is in production, Disappointment Boulevard, I believe is the name. What goes through this man's mind from your end as an actor in a movie of his?
Oh, well, I mean, he's a sick man. I mean, he's a wonderful dude, but a sick man. And, but he is a very sort of he presents really almost just like a nervous New York artist guy. Just it's kind of that's how he feels. He doesn't feel dour or anything like that. And so it's really wild the stuff that comes out and of his brain. And I really loved. I mean, I personally love that movie just because I was a big fan of The Wicker Man, the 1972 version. With all the
Christopher Lee, yeah.
I love that movie, and this sort of harkened back to that for me in a lot of ways. And I think that maybe the fact that it takes belief and makes it an enemy in a certain way, where it's just there's no way to rationalize. There's no way to reason with. I'm so sorry. There's a drill in the wall next door, and they are going ham right now.
We've had worse noises in interviews, believe it or not.
The green screen collapsing behind you or whatever it is would have been quite hilarious. Not that I want you injured, but it would have been very funny. Yes.
Yeah, it's bananas, but but this not being able to reason with people because you're not talking about logic anymore, and that's terrifying. When people are making choices to do things not based in logic, and so I thought that was it. It really hit me, and I love doing it. And yeah, Ari he's a wild one for putting that shit together.
What do you think it is about that movie that made it pop? Because I remember we talked to Will Poulter a while ago, and he said that he thinks, or that the thing that really popped off for him, especially in the script or whatever, is that it was all during the daytime. It's a horror movie during the daytime, which is just not something that's done.
Yeah, I think there's that. I think that it's also, it's sort of this. This is one of those movies that makes you wait a long time. You have to be very patient. It's really almost like a character study of these people and how they're reacting to this really strange culture for a long time. And I think the fact that the movie doesn't sort of tip off as soon as you get to Sweden that something is drastically wrong, So like you're sort of, at least for me, I'm just kind of like, I know this isn't what I think it is, but I don't know what I think it is. And so that's something that, because I feel like a lot of things, especially in the horror genre, they sort of let you know that you're in a horror movie right off the bat. And this is sort of the vein in which we're going to be proceeding. And this starts with some really horrific energy, but then it moves away from that for a really long time, which I think is a really smart idea.
Yeah, it's, and I think as well, like anyone who starts their movie off with the entire movie being played out on like a mural or whatever it was, where you see the entire movie start to end in the first 5 minutes, that's a sick person, and in the most creatively best way possible. Like that is like it's just it's a whole different vibe and mindset. Just in general, talking about shows. Also, not to like undercut another stream, but also check out Love Life season 2. By the way, I know that was very successful show for you. Great, another show different than The Good Place. Different than The Resort in terms of shows and taking shows in a different direction, especially comedies. And this probably goes a little more along with The Good Place because The Good Place was a little more of a regular straight comedy, even though it definitely had dark elements to it. What is it about keeping a show consistently funny, but giving it a different vibe? Because season 3 of The Good Place was obviously, when you go to Earth, when you do things that are different, it's a much different show than what you're used to when it started off. But I know myself, Ken Jack, our other co-hosts at the time when the show was airing, we still loved it and still enjoyed what was going on there. Like, how important is it to kind of change up what happens in comedies like that? So, you keep it interesting and it's not just this is the same jokes year after year after, even though it is still funny.
Yeah, I think that one of the cool things about that is that it's Mike Schur, who's just a genius, just literally just a genius. And then I think it's good to have an end to your story. It's not just putting characters in different situations for as long as you'll have us. It's more like, this is the story. The story is the thing that is most important. And so I think that with Mike, he was he did have a game plan going in of how this story would actually end. And so it wasn't just about how long can we, how many seasons can we wring out of this premise? And so the forward momentum of that storytelling, I think, is what sort of kept people leaning forward and wanting to watch the show. Because it is it's a sitcom, but it is one of those, it's pretty rare to watch a sitcom where you really need to watch it from the top to really get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're like, oh, this is funny and weird, I guess, but I don't know why these dudes are showing up in a pool hall and trying to beat up the main characters. It's you need to know what's going on and why it's happening. And so there's so much world building, and I think that's the thing that keeps it feeling fresh, is that it's there's a lot of world building and a lot of specificity in that world building and a lot of forward momentum in the narrative, which makes people want to stay and watch. And I think it also speaks to how smart audiences are. They don't just sit back and just sort of well, I'm just going to let these jokes wash over me or let this story wash over me while I eat dinner or cook dinner or do something like this. It's you're meant to pay attention, and it rewards paying attention. And it also assumes that the audience is watching and paying attention, which I think most audiences are.
All right. We have a couple of questions really quick before we wrap up here. We usually do a 6-pack, but we'll limit it to a few questions here. I want to give you one really quick rapid fire question. Was it very gratifying when they finally decided to admit that Chidi, aka just you, are ripped in The Good Place?
Yeah. That was satisfying.
Very sad.
I didn't know it until people started posting stuff online, and my buddy texted me and said, like, "Hey, yo, people, the internet wants TD to get naked," and I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
oh, okay, cool."
What are 3 movies you think more people should see?
Oh, what 3 movies I think more people should see? I think more people should see. Okay, the 40-year-old version.
Yeah, good call.
Draw a blank. That's one of my favorite movies of the last couple of years. City of God, which is
I was just writing about that.
And just recently, I watched this movie called Nitram, which is it's. I don't want to give anything away, but it is it's a movie that just came out in the last couple of months, I want to say. Nitram. Everyone should see that one. That's a fantastic flick.
We just did an interview very recently with Ronaldo Marcus Green, who did the King Richard movie. He's doing the Bob Marley biopic, and he said he's got a lot of City of God undertones in the Bob Marley biopic. That's what he That's a pretty good tease.
Yeah.
Last one. You worked with Ted Danson on The Good Place. This is not even a question. I just want to let you know that for 10 years, I was under the impression that Ted Danson played the character Hellboy.
Played by Ron Perlman.
I for many, like for a long, like for like an embarrassingly long time.
How did you?
They look very similar.
When we're done here, just pull up your phone, look up Hellboy, and be like, just be like, you know what? I could see. I was such a Curb Your Enthusiasm fan. I'm just like, and in my head, I watched it at a very young age. I was like, that's Ted Danson. Didn't look it up. Didn't ask questions. I was like, there he is. There's Becker himself. He's just fucking Hellboy.
It's not impossible.
It's not that crazy.
It's not impossible. Like, put those thick brim glasses on him, and
It's man, I would not have. Oh man, I can't unsee that.
I mean, Kelsey Grammer played Beast in X-Men at one point. It's not that crazy.
Yes.
It's I'm like, oh yeah. You cover me in red and put a bunch of aesthetics on.
Thank you so much. This was a great joy getting to talk to you. The Resort, Peacock, July 28th. Make sure to check it out. Thank you so much, man. We hope you have an enjoyable rest of your day.
Hey, thanks, y'all. Thanks.
All right, we're actually recording this out of order. We are going to do our reviews now. 2 movies today, 2 pretty big movies. One a big theater release and one a large streaming release. I assume we're going to spend more time on the first one, a little more complex to discuss. And that we also again recording this out of order. Joined by Chris now. Chris may join us for the Comic-Con breakdown. May run out of time, so recording this late. I'm dealing with a migraine all day. A real fun task. So we'll see how long this episode could last because Comic-Con breakdowns typically take forever. But Nope is the first movie we're going to talk about today. The third movie from one Jordan Peele, who has gone from like Comedy Central TV show and like comedy guy, Mad TV, to like a prolific director. It really, Oscar winner, obviously. It's truly like kind of insane. It's just like in 5-6 years, this just happened. Nope. Came out in theaters this past weekend. Stars Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Stephen Yeun, a couple other people. Those are the most notable people in the movie that you would recognize for an average viewer. Residents in a lonely gulch of inland California bear witness to an uncanny, chilling discovery. We'll get more into the actual spoilery synopsis of it. We can do a quick non-spoiler thoughts off the top. I'm echoing a little bit, by the way, just a heads up, I think. If anyone's noticed that. We do a quick little non-spoiler thing off the top because you kind of can't talk about this without spoiling anything. It is, I would say it's his least complex movie in terms of plot, start to finish. But there are a lot of themes and kind of could be more depending on how you view it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I actually, honestly, have not really followed or tracked what audiences and critics have thought of it. I'm not totally surprised by the audience score of 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. A little surprised by the critic score of an 83% approval. I'm surprised that many critics did not give it a passing score. I liked Us a lot. I know, Kenjack, you did as well. You and I rated Us definitely on the higher end of the spectrum. Did not like it as much as Get Out, but that's like, I mean, Get Out. I Get Out is number 44 all time for me. It's 160 for you all time. Like Get Out is the way we have it, like one of the best movies ever made. So it's kind of a tough comp to make. I like Nope a hair more than I liked Us. I gave Us a 91. I gave Nope a 92. I fucking loved this movie. I actually think this is his most impressive directorial job that he has done. Mm-hmm. The word that this is not an original thing, by the way, this has been thrown around by a lot of people. The Spielberg comp, I think, is great. This has a very Spielberg-y feel to it in terms of like scope and size, and the way the story plays out. I thought this movie was fucking awesome. And the more meanings and the more like little things that I've like pulled out of it, and not even my own, like I've watched breakdowns on it. You're like, oh shit, like this little thing here. We'll talk about, did he survive the end of it? We'll talk about the shoe that Jupe was focused on in the movie. We'll talk about like all the little things here, but I thought it was awesome, start to finish. I thought it was his best directing job. I think in terms of like, it's not Get Out. I kind of hate saying that. I hate that comp because like at this point, are we really going to compare it to like Get Out is fucking almost a masterpiece in many people's eyes. I think this is still fucking great. So it's a 92 out of 100 for me. I love Nope. Ken Jack, how did you feel about Nope? You're very fresh. You saw it today.
Yeah, I saw it earlier this morning. I saw it earlier this morning, and it was kind of funny. I saw it at 10 a.m. showing in AMC. The theater was, when I booked my ticket, it was not a single seat. And I walk in to the theater, one person in the theater, they're in my assigned seat. It's incredible. Like the odds are just insanely low at this guy. I have no idea. He was just sitting there with it, just fucking chilling with his backpack in the other seat. I was like, whatever, I don't care. But movie, I really liked it. I echo a lot of what Jeff said, where like I understand if some audiences or just don't really resonate with it. Definitely very Spielberg-y. Another thing that was frustrating was when I got back to the office, I was talking to Enrique. If you don't know Barstool, he like runs the entire Barstool office. And I was like talking about him, like, yeah, it felt like almost like I was watching like Jaws, but it was like a space Western. And he's like, yeah, I've seen that comp a lot. And I was like, oh shit. Like I thought that was like I had an original fucking take on it, but apparently everyone is saying the same sort of thing about it. And I think that's like honestly the first thing I thought about during like a midway point of this movie. Like this is literally just on land Jaws with like a sci-fi element to it, which was really, really awesome. I thought the whole cast crushed it. It's hard to sort of talk about some of the other things without spoiling too much, but I really like the pace and how they sort of section it out into different things that and love and recognize from summer blockbusters, so like different sort of like pacing tools. Really like the suspense, really like some of the scares. Music and sound design was incredible. So good. I ended up giving this a 92. I really, really liked it. Enjoyed it a ton. There's definitely a couple little criticisms I have for it, but we can get into it more in the spoiler section, because I think that makes it a little easier.
Chris, actually also give context to, again, I just got done saying comparing it to Get Out is like almost unfair, but I don't just give context of your thoughts on the previous two, or where you would have his previous two movies.
I like Us more than this, but I liked Us more than most people did. I actually
prefer Ken Jack and I. Yeah,
I actually preferred Us to Get Out. I thought it was more well directed. I thought the premise as a whole, and I only saw it once, but I thought the premise as a whole, the narrative was just a bit tighter. I guess I just connected with it more. I found it creepy. I like this. I like Nope quite a bit. Good movie. Very well directed. And one thing, this might sound like a weird comp, but one thing about Jordan Peele that I find interesting is he's almost Tarantino-esque in the sense that he very clearly has a lot of influences, but rarely does his work ever feel derivative. It doesn't feel like
really good point.
He doesn't feel like he's ever ripping people off. Like people are obviously the Spielberg comparison is there, but yeah, I didn't feel like, and I like this movie, but it's not like Super 8, which was just so clearly like J.J. Abrams saying, I'm making a Spielberg movie. This had similar DNA here, but I felt like it was very much its own thing. Like the characters a lot. I think they get the characterization quite right. Keke Palmer's great. And one thing that I think is hard to do with movies is filming nighttime action sequences. They very often look just murky and ugly. The cinematography, I don't know what kind of cameras they were using or what, I thought was gorgeous during some of those nighttime sequences. And my big problem with it, just before we get into spoilers, and this happens in so many movies, I found the second act to be very bloated. I really felt like there reached a point where the movie was getting repetitive, but you get to the third act, and the third act, outside of one character decision that we'll talk about, I thought was excellent, intense. It looked great. And ultimately, look, the movie gets right what it needs to get right, which is the fact you like these characters. You care about these characters. You want them to do well. It's an interesting story in a genre that has a tendency to get a little bit repetitive. So, I mean, definitely a movie I'd recommend seeing in theaters. I enjoyed it a fair amount. I've gone back and forth with it because I do like it a little bit less than I did when I first saw it. Like, I don't know if I would actively go out and watch this again, but at the same time, it's so well directed that I recommend it to people. I have it at an even 80. I think it's quite good. One of the better movies of the summer, and I recommend people see it.
I want to know before we have Robbie give your score and thoughts. This is another movie of mine that lands in the I like movies about Hollywood cinematic universe. That's just any movie about Hollywood I typically like more than most. I just referenced to somebody yesterday. I don't know what it was. They're like, "You like that movie?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "It's about Hollywood." So of course I did.
So to be fair to this movie, they do reference Hollywood stuff that is not stuff you would expect, like Scorpion King and shit like that. God, I love that.
Oh, yeah, the Scorpion King reference is awesome.
There's a lot of great. The Scorpion King reference is fucking fantastic. Robbie, score and thoughts, and then we'll get into spoilers. We'll talk kind of like the big spoiler, like the quote unquote reveal off the top of spoilers. But Robbie, give your non-spoiler thoughts.
I was a little nervous going in. I don't like horror movies, or not that I dislike them.
We got to talk about that too when you're done too, because there's a weird like criticism people have of this, and it's bothering me. But yeah, go ahead.
And I think it's the same way that's bothering me. I think a lot of horror fans don't love this movie, like people who are really, really into horror, because it's really not that scary of a movie, and because of that, I liked it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, people are like saying, and I'll just say now, people are like almost critiquing it, like he had to make a horror movie. Like, this wasn't horror.
It's horror in the way Jaws is horror. That's why
they're acting like they went to go see a Star Wars movie and they got like Star Trek. It's like this doesn't have to be horror. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. You can view it that way, but like I find that as a weird critique. It's not like they're like, hey, this is a. It's not like Jordan Peele opened the movie with like a monologue. Hey, this is my horror movie. Enjoy.
No, he opened the movie with a verse from probably the least read part of the Bible.
Yeah,
I've seen that critique.
It was a book that I literally I had to Google it after the movie. I was like, was that a Bible verse or was that from a different religion? Like, and I went
to be fair, I think to those people, by the way, that maybe anticipated horror, I do think that the trailers, to an extent, did sort of portray this like, hey, it's Jordan Peele, the guy that brought you this huge horror movie, movie, and they kind of like they presented it as it was going to be sort of a horror movie. But you're right in that, like, it didn't have to be something traditionally horror, and to criticize it for that is a little lame.
One thing I also really liked about this movie and Get Out, and I think he kind of lost it a little bit in Us, where the movie can be enjoyed on a very much a surface level, and then if you want to dig deeper, you can find a lot more enjoyment after you dig deeper into it. But you don't have to enjoy. Your enjoyment doesn't come out of those hidden references or the hidden meanings in the movie. Like if you just want to watch it straight up superficially, I thought it was fun that way too, and then go back through and just figure out what all the symbolism and all that good stuff is. Yeah, so I give it an 85. I liked it a lot. That's the same score I gave to The Northman.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it again, it's like fun because it is. There's a little bit of a horror-y element to it, but it's definitely more of a sci-fi. Like there's a sci-fi with like suspense. Yeah, it's a there's a genre bend to it. Like it's not a pure one genre movie, which is like I don't know. It's kind of like the best movies that come out. Well, at least to me, that's subjective. Okay, so. Fairly high marks, but if you have not seen it, I would stop here because there's like they straight up show the fucking UFO in the trailer, by the way. So we're going to talk about all that now.
UAP.
Yeah, so it's not a UFO. They actually go out of their way to mention that. Angel says that. The Butch, I love the Fry. Like I just love that it was a Fry's Electronics employee. Like I just think that's just one of those like tiny. Trill would have had a fucking field day with that. Like he would have absolutely. He would have absolutely loved that. But the UFO is not It's not a UFO. It's a fucking creature. It is the creature itself. I thought that was a great reveal. It has this weird, like, kind of there's some symbolism with that too, which I won't even pretend I even know, like biblical, like angel stuff. But it is the actual creature. I thought it was a great twist. I that was not what the little kids dressed as aliens too.
That was creepy.
Creepy as fuck.
There was some good little like. There was a good little like bait and switch there. We're almost like not in a wink way that it ruins the movie, but like, like when he put that in the movie, he was fucking amped. He's like, God, I'm gonna get them so bad. Good theater moment. I like that. I thought it felt fresh. It felt just kind of different, and it was completely unexpected for me. Like it really was. I didn't watch a ton of marketing in this movie. I kind of saw the initial trailer, but it's one of those things. It's like, at this point, he's made 2 movies. I've like, what do I really need to see like more here? Like, do I want to? But in the end, like the trailer was kind of another bait and switch in a sense that it really kind of threw you off. But I did like that. I don't know where you guys stand on that one. The ship really just being a creature.
Yeah, no, I like that twist a lot. Yeah.
Looked really great. I think the creature design was really original. It did feel, and I know, Robert, you pointed out another anime reference as well, but it felt a little bit like Evangelion type angel, especially when it folds out near the end.
I thought that too.
Turns into a parachute monster, right? I thought it looked great, and I think something really cool about the design of that creature is that they borrowed one of my favorite UFO sort of things, which was the creatures in War of the Worlds, which would eat the people and then shoot out all the bones and guts like in a grinder. I thought that was like one of the nastiest and scariest things from that movie, when it was really freaking me out. And I like how they kind of did that in this, where it like spits out all the shit onto the ground, including when they killed former LCB interviewee from an interview that never aired, Keith David, which is very funny.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right. Do you remember that? He showed up to the Barstool office, nobody else with him, no entourage, which every actor usually has. He showed up in an all purple suede tracksuit and a backwards Kangol hat. And he was just like, we talked to him about The Arbiter for half an hour. And like, there's something about Mary, I think. And then we lost the audio at Barstool.
He has such a great voice.
Yeah.
Awesome. All-time voice.
When they were in the house,
the creature anyway,
came pouring down. That was amazing.
Yes.
When it came pouring down the window.
That was a great shot. So cool. I have a question though about the ending, because I'm not quite at a point where I'm going to complain, but I need a refresher. Okay, am I the only one who thought it was setting up that Daniel Kaluuya was going to sacrifice himself at the end so she could get away from the creature? Okay,
this thing, the
exactly.
Thing.
But how is it he didn't die? Because it was
something he did.
Oh,
something it was symbolism. I don't think he's dead. I think he's alive.
I don't think so either. But
something he died though.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I guess one thing I really like about Jordan Peele's movies is that I think he does a great job of establishing ground rules, like within his universe, like this. Everything kind of makes sense, whether to varying degrees of success, but it doesn't feel like anything's ever really out of place in his movies. But with that, I was waiting for the moment. I thought for sure he was dead, and then the final shot, you just see him. I'm like, okay, that's a bit bizarre, because it was clearly established throughout the movie. If you look at this thing, you're getting sucked into it. And then for him to look like directly at it for like 30 seconds and then, haul ass, I'm like, the final shot was cool enough. And of course, as you just brought up, Jeff, there's speculation, but there was a part of me that's like, that's almost a cop out in my opinion.
Yeah. It's like, obviously so much of the movie is about, and this ties into the Scorpion King thing too. It's like their great grandfather. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. If it's great, I've seen it twice.
Great. It's another great
grandfather. Was the Man in the Horse in Motion, the very famous first moving picture, like the black man riding the horse in photo. Which is very much what not Jordan Peele.
That's wild that no one knows who that is.
Yeah, that is. It's crazy. OJ is on the horse riding away. It's kind of like they finally had their moment because they did their family's one big Hollywood moment. Could have been Scorpion King, but it obviously wasn't. Which, by the way, Corridor Digital on YouTube, where they break down all the VFX, they actually had on the guy who did the Scorpion King thing.
I saw that. Yeah, that was cool.
Who also did Davy Jones, and he explained he was very. It's a must watch. He's just very funny about it, and he references how little reference footage they had with Dwayne Johnson on set because he's only there for 3 days. He goes, It's very funny the way he breaks it up. So just kind of like timing was kind of weird on that. But I love the symbolism and imagery on that too. It's like, you know, they claim this thing early on with their family, then like they had kind of their moment. It's one of the things that happened, you know, as they're struggling with this ranch, basically Scorpion King. Many things happen with that movie, and like didn't use the horses or whatever. And then the ending with him on the horse kind of symbolized, I guess, maybe like the tying together of that arc, of that circle. A lot of the themes in general, I'll read some off. You know, if I miss any, if I have any thoughts, obviously the film industry and the entertainment industry is a massive commentary for all of it. People risking kind of anything for a show and spectacle. Jordan Peele's talked a lot about that, like putting on a big show, putting on a spectacle, you know, getting those viral moments, you know, being the subject of things and all of that. Obviously, you know, the predators and animals, all of that as well. You know, looking predators in the eye. You see that early, just beginning of the movie with the chimp Gordy and Ricky Jupe, depending however you want to say the character's name. Stephen Yeun's character.
Jupe's a fun name. Let's go.
It is a very fun name. Yeah. You know, he in the beginning of the movie does not get killed by Gordy. He kind of, you know, hit a little bit, and Gordy there was a respect there. Then later on, he's literally killing horses to try and pull out the spectacle. And he thinks he can do it. And whether he believes he can do that because he was spared by Gordy or not, he doesn't realize as he's kind of going against everything that helped have him spared in the beginning. There's also, I can't claim to have a fully original take on this. I've seen this in a bunch of spaces, but there's still a lot of racial and social commentary on here. I've seen people note that the only like really fully white thing is the ship here. And like the two men are all different colors. I mean, really everyone in the movie, Keke Palmer's character and Dana Kaluuya, OJ and Emerald, like they're black as well. Angel, obviously not white. Like there's a lot of Stephen Yeun, like there's a lot of that there as well. If you like really want to dig deep into it, though, I do want to reference kind of what you said, Goop, is that the movie's can be pretty surface level depending on how you take it. Like it's fairly straightforward, but you can like get pretty fucking deep with it. Even the shoe. Did anyone have any like, questions about the shoe?
Yeah.
Did the moments
that it's like a
bad miracle
thing that in like moments of trauma, like you focus on one random thing. But I thought about it as the second shoe to drop type ordeal.
Yeah. I like that theory the best. I've seen a few different theories. I like that one. Yeah. Did you take that when he was reaching out to Gordy? Was that just another Spielberg reference, just an ET reference? You know, when the hand comes through underneath the couch.
I didn't take it as that. I didn't take it, but again, that's just another thing.
It's a cool shot. I mean, yeah, it's very Tarantino where he's making these references, but he's doing it in just such a unique way. Yeah. I really liked a lot of the imagery in the movie. And then him having that. Sorry, what was that, Kinjack?
I was gonna say I took it as he was like that was Stephen Yeun's character's like or Jupe, I guess. His way of interacting with predators was to stare them down because that's what he did to the chimpanzee, and then that became his fatal mistake when he stared down the UFO later on in the movie. Like that was like the whole thing was like that's how he learned how to interact with them. And then meanwhile, OJ, like he had the opposite where it's like don't look them in the eye. That's how they freak out, and that's how predators become intimidated.
Yeah, you could take that as like almost like a misinterpretation thing too. It's like he thought that's why he was saved, but really like back as a kid, it was more about respect, and like he didn't have that later on in life. Chris, you had something?
Well, I had one thing because it's outside of the pacing. I had one huge problem with the end of this movie, and it's a cliche that we see in movies every so often that I think sucks. It's character sees something amazing and then immediately kills themselves. Nobody would do that. Like, how is a guy sees an alien?
Are you talking about the cinematographer?
Yeah, he sees an alien and he goes, I don't
that guy, by the way. He rocked.
No, Antlers Pulse. That's such a cinematographer name, by the way.
He's supposed to be Denny.
Yeah.
That guy had a real presence to him. I've never seen him in
like Denny. He looked like Denny. I think it was supposed to be Denny.
Yeah, but Chris, do you think too? Like, I get what you're saying, but I guess I could also see this as a good critique. Is like maybe it plays too much into the like it's almost too on the nose. Like he is literally dying for the art and the spectacle, which I guess a lot of them are. Like obviously there's Ricky or Jupe or whatever. Like he is doing it over a very long, drawn out process built with years of trauma. He is more of who's he actually remind me of? He reminds me of You know, Antlers Holst reminded me of. I'm so sorry. I'm about to make this reference. He reminds me of Claire's like artist boyfriend from the House of Cards. I don't know why. They really have nothing to do with it, but that's who I thought of the entire time.
I only remember the author who's from
the author. Yeah. No, for a while she dates like a photographer, and like he's just like that same. Like, artsy fartsy. Yeah. I do get what you're saying though, Chris, because I would concede that that was one of the more kind of on the nose parts of that commentary about the Spectre, because he literally was like, "Fuck this, I'm going inside, just gonna die."
Yeah,
the TMZ guy too.
Yeah,
when he's like laying there and like his legs are broken, he's like, "Don't help me." He's like, "Get the shot, get the shot." The TMZ guy with the cool helmet.
I'm more inclined to believe that somebody would. Yeah, I'm more inclined to believe that a person would do that. They could just get the shot, then immediately off themselves after getting footage of a UFO, like or UAP, whatever it is. That's and again, that's not didn't ruin the movie. I still really enjoyed it a lot. But as I brought up earlier, I think that Jordan Peele's films are very consistent with their characterization and very consistent with their worlds, and that it felt out of place to me.
I think the biggest things I take points off this movie for are, I think the chimp thing could have been the best part of a different movie versus a side part of this movie. Like, I understand the symbolism or whatever that you need to put into the comparison of that versus the actual alien. But like, I felt like that was so fascinating, those little scenes, but I wish that they were fleshed out in their own separate thing. I also think that the movie would have benefited from being more continuous versus like broken up into the separate animals, like into the horses and the chimps.
Yeah.
I felt like a more just continuous vibe would have been a little bit better and a little bit less pretentious isn't the word, but that always turns off audiences. I feel like every time an audience sees something broken up into like part 1, part 2, or like into little vignettes, or just like, I immediately don't like this, or for whatever reason.
The chapters were, I didn't like that. I didn't really like him having, what was it, about 6 chapters worth?
Yeah.
And breaking up with the title on each one. I don't know if it needed that.
Yeah, I think it could have been tighter. I definitely agree on that. Chris, you kind of mentioned that point first about it being like, if I were to say that is one thing, not like to a huge extent, but definitely.
Yeah. I think, and the last thing I think that the movie could have benefited more is just like a little bit more laser focus, because like, especially with the Jaws comparison, which apparently a lot of people are making again, it makes me think about how the relationship between the 3 guys on the ship, right? Like that is so beneficial to the characterization of them and their struggle versus this main antagonist or whatever. And I think that if you could have had that with OJ, Emerald, and Angel, it could have been a lot more tight and a lot more like just more not satisfying, but we could have had a more satisfying sort of relationship between the 3 of them, if that makes sense. And that's something that we didn't really get because we had to go through all these different places, talk to Jupe, talk to all these other people. And I just think it could, the TMZ guy, for example, like you could have had it just a little bit more focused and a little bit more tight. And that's where that could have brought this movie into like the upper echelon, but it didn't take away enough for it to me to like it to super damage the movie for me.
There's other people, by the way, who say, I know, what's the fucking phrase? I don't want to say it wrong. I don't know. Anyway, I was going to try to talk more about the fucking shoe, because I know some people have like really talked about the shoe and the whole standing upright thing, and being a miracle, and if he misremembered it, and if he was remembering it a certain way, and just because like that's what happened during the trauma, if he was because obviously you're seeing that all through his eyes and like of the encounter. Well, speaking of that, I actually know one person took issue with it. We don't have to read the whole thread, but Logan Paul's thread in the movie is one of the funniest things ever fucking seen.
Oh god,
he missed everything. He
really did. He really, and it's not even like a Logan Paul hater thing, because I'm somebody who consumes anytime he opens a pack of Pokemon cards, I'll watch it. But it is really funny. It is.
Tony
Snell's
very stat line for him watching that movie.
The first
he was lost.
He said, "Nope, it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen." I will say this though. I truly appreciate that he called the movie one of the worst he's ever seen in his life, and then he ripped off like 15 tweets. At least he I will always be okay with somebody saying something I like or dislike in an opposite direction. If they give me a ton of just thoughts, I'm like, I appreciate that. If they actually, that means they're giving me a thoughtful interaction. I don't agree with what he's saying, but I was like, when he said it, I'm like, holy shit, the thread is still going. I actually thought it was a fake account for a second. Like, wait a second, there's no way he's doing this. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But his first point being no one was curious how a quarter shot through a man's face and killed him, or why a key was lodged in the backside of the horse he was riding.
People were curious.
Did he not get that?
I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's not really like one of the more like. I don't know. Like that was. I was like, wait a second, because that's when I was like, is he trolling here? But then he just kept talking about like very specific points in the movie. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
It reads like if somebody watched every CinemaSins video, not understanding that it's satire. Like these are
spot on.
These are legitimate complaints now. Like I'm not like whether you like CinemaSins or not, they're open about the fact that these are jokes. Like scene does not contain a lap dance is not an actual complaint. But I think there are people who watch it and are like, that's true, and they put out tweet threads like that. Yeah,
just an insane person move.
There's a reply about the shoe I like. I guess I sort of said it. The shoe was a distraction for the kid who chose to look at the spectacle instead of a chimp mauling humans, looking at a shoe suspended erect when he didn't have to look at the chimp in the eyes. That was deadly. People say the bad miracles thing.
He did look at the chimp in the eyes.
Variety wrote a whole thing
That's
on
a big scene.
What?
He did look at the chimp in the eyes. That was like the
after
scene.
and he like no, but I know somebody linked to the bad. Variety had a the bad miracles thing they talked about. Variety did like a breakdown very similar to that too. I mean, I think there's like multiple ways to look at it, and that's kind of why I fucking love it. I also another thing people wanted to know was that like a film canister kind of fell out when Angel was like spit back out because he had like the barbed wire wrapped around him, and I did appreciate that people were saying like, oh man, there's like I wonder if they got it on, what's on the film, or like there's a lot you can do here with the prequel. And I'm like, man, we ain't never gonna prequel for this movie. Jordan Peele. He is on to the next one. He is.
Did you guys see that? It had the biggest opening weekend for an original movie since Us in 2019. So like,
it did. I think it actually underperformed what they expected,
but only about by $5 million.
People have said that Top Gun and Minions have. Especially they've broken through that you can't use COVID as an excuse anymore. But
Venom 2 started that.
yeah,
that's true.
Thank you to Venom. Yeah, thanks to Venom 2 for all. Without Venom 2, nobody would have seen that Top Gun movie we've been talking about for.
That's Chris's least favorite movie of all time.
I've probably said. I don't know if I can definitively put it one. But
without Venom 2, Nope doesn't happen.
Exactly, that movie took something out of my soul.
Just think about that though. Every single time you watch a movie, Chris, just remember that it wouldn't have happened without Venom 2.
That movie was really man. What did I rate that fucking movie? I'd have to lower the score on that movie.
I just remember we watched it and then we had to interview Andy Serkis and it was just like we danced around talking about the part of the movie.
I have it at a 34. That's low enough. It's bad. There was a couple things that were okay with it because I still do like Tom Hardy in that role. Man, that movie.
You see that tweet? Did you see that tweet about
like nobody can understand what Tom Hardy's saying?
American audiences don't understand Tom Hardy more than anyone else, but I didn't say it on the graphic whether they meant like his accent or just in general. And I was just like, I don't really understand him either. Yeah, I don't really get him as a concept.
When he said he fucks guys, but he's not gay.
Yeah, that's in Americans just like, what the hell does that mean? You fuck a guy, you're gay in my book.
There's a lot of references in the movie.
The Akira reference, I about jumped out of my seat and cheered because it was like a perfect with the crime scene, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, the motorcycle slide, the Scorpion King thing too.
It looks so cool.
The Scorpion King thing is we should.
The Ancient Aliens reference. I laughed at that.
There's a lot of good references to old other movies, like ones that people wouldn't think of that were really cool. I thought.
They had some in the house. They had posters of Sidney Poitier's westerns on the wall.
We should sell the Scorpion King orange hoodie. Be fucking awesome.
That would be pretty sweet.
Jaws. I mean, many different monster things. Some of like the Bloody Rain and Bloody Windows, and there's a lot.
The mouth being a TV. Of that alien, like the alien's mouth is just like a 16:9 TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty on the nose.
There's a lot there, and there is a. I don't know. I get I totally get if people don't love this. People who hate it, it's like I don't know about that.
It's too well made to be hateable.
That's kind of my thing there. Yeah, but. Point being, I just there's an appreciation and like a love for what he makes that you just feel when you watch the movie, and I just like He's 3 for 3 in my book, and it's fucking awesome. And now again, this is out of order. We're going to talk about another director later on when we talk about Black Panther and why I think people who don't. We'll see what I say. This is like a backwards tease. I guess I've already said it, but I have said earlier in this pod that I don't understand why people are fully doubting Ryan Coogler with the new Black Panther movie. I'm like, what has he done that has, like, he has done nothing that should suggest he won't just make a, like I understand the absence of Chadwick Boseman is unreal. It's one of like the taller tasks anyone has to do in Hollywood. Like, it's just crazy to have one of the most impactful movies that we've seen in a long time, one of the big movies in the history of this country in terms of like box office, and to lose a character who had become an icon like that, to then make a sequel. But I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm not really, I don't doubt Ryan Coogler. So, but
I'm with you. Yeah.
Again, like that's another guy who's made a couple great movies. But I think Peele's up there. I can't wait to see what he does next. I really can't. There's a couple other, like we talked about Ari Aster in our interview today. We talked about Midsummer. Like, there's just some people out there right now they're making one movie every like 2-ish years. There's just a lot of great like movie makers in Hollywood right now making awesome original shit.
Not part of a franchise and just doing something original or at least against the grain, and something, especially with Peele, it performing to the level of, like, I don't want to, and Chris will get pissed if I even put them in the same sentence, I feel like, but Christopher Nolan-ish, where it makes a shit ton of money and also performs extremely well with critics and audiences, which is extremely rare.
Which Oppenheimer teaser played before.
Looked fucking great.
I thought the trailers were over, and then they kicked.
Yeah, same here.
They brought that in, and then I was like, "Wait, what? What?"
That man gets erect to release a trailer 1 year out for his next.
It was a great one too.
I love that tradition.
It's a great trailer, but dude, you are so right. Since Begins, the marketing for his movies is the exact same every time. It's 1 minute teaser with voiceover. A few months later, we get the 2.5 minute trailer, and then he'll kill somebody if you get a third trailer. But like it's the same font in all the trailers. He loves his time. The man loves time.
Well, I was gonna say, that's exactly what here. Go ahead, you can finish. Sorry,
go ahead. That
got me going because we've talked about it since Oppenheimer was announced. Like, how is he going to incorporate time into this movie? And I don't know if the trailer is like I would assume that's a bit of a tease as to how like time is going to be incorporated with this movie. So that got me. That might have been my favorite of his 1 minute teasers, because
I wish I worked at AMC so that I could have like subbed out that moment with another of the Nicole Kidman AMC teasers just to piss a bunch of people. Can you imagine you're waiting all day for the Oppenheimer?
Yeah. The original Dark Knight trailer with the voiceover is pretty iconic. Yeah, they don't show any actual footage. You just hear Heath for the first time.
Yeah,
the laugh. Yeah. Well, excited for that. So yeah, this has been This has been our Nope review. Awesome. For me, awesome. Lived up to the hype. We've been waiting for this one for a while. Very, very, I mean, yeah, now it's like, all right, what's he doing next? Let's go. Let's get it going. Let's see the next movie from Jordan Peele.
Doing a Kira movie, Jordan Peele.
Yeah, hell yeah, please. Although no, I prefer him stick to original stuff. Actually,
I bet at some point he does pull a Nolan known as like, let me make my franchise.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Coogler's sort of done like we mentioned Coogler. He's basically just done franchise stuff, really. Fruitvale Station, obviously incredibly original, but Creed. Though Creed was, it's a franchise thing, but it really was like as original as a story you can get with with a pre-existing franchise of like a billion movies. And then he did Black Panther, but Black Panther was sort of like a newer, fresher thing, even though it was based on material. Yeah. And I mentioned another one I mentioned recently. The wildest one is still Barry Jenkins doing Lion King too. That's just that's just fucking bananas.
Easy way to get excited about a sequel to a movie that we didn't particularly like, though.
Like to something that you're like. After the nostalgia wears off, you're like, well, that wasn't as good as the original. But
that was a cultural nothing in that movie. It was just like,
I was going to say, are we sure that movie existed?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Are we sure it ever came out?
People are like, oh, dude, it's Beyonce, it's Childish Gambino, it's all these people like just listing down this incredible list of names for this remake. And it was
a great trailer.
Remake. It's the most retweeted tweet we've ever had. It's actually
that trailer was so good.
From any Barstool brand ever. I saw the trailer at D23 like 2 years before it came out, and I remember being like, "Holy fuck, that trailer is going to do like." Because it was just it was a shot-for-shot recreation. Like, who would not? I was standing with my coworkers, and we were next to the Last Jedi cast. And I remember John Boyega and Mark Hamill were like going nuts. They're like, that was crazy. Because just in the context of the trailer, you're like, oh, what the fuck? That was like live action. I'm like, that's crazy. And we did the side-by-side on Thanksgiving Day, and we dropped it because we had it like ready to go. And then that thing did like a couple 100,000, like it was like 200,000 retweets, maybe something like that. But then the movie ended up like, I mean, the movie's not terrible. It's The Lion King, but you're just like, it's The Lion King without all the charm. Lion King's a perfect movie. Like it's a 99 of 100 for me. So, I mean,
it's just the juxtaposition between how hyped up that movie was and the fact that nobody talks about it since its release. Bizarre. It's like if the Phantom Menace came out and people just like shrug their shoulders. It's strange.
It's incredibly, it's the Bohemian Rhapsody of
even Disney with like Avatar, like at least people like talk about Avatar, even if it's to make fun of it or whatever. Like nobody talks about the Lion King remake, period.
And Avatar's run lasted longer. I mean, it got nominated for Best Picture.
Have they paused promotion on Avatar since revealing that Sigourney Weaver's character is just? I think they did. I think they were like, I
saw that trailer.
Shit, we got to hold off for a minute. This was weird.
No trailer for it for Gray Man or Nope. It didn't play. That trailer didn't play for either of those.
I saw it ahead of Nope this morning, and I tell you, the hype is going up.
On your Nope.
Yeah, it's getting me more excited every single time I see it. And
what is it? What is it going up against? I don't think it's going up against anything.
It moved away.
I can't imagine anything wants to go up against it.
Avatar, Matilda.
Hell yeah.
That's released on Netflix, so it's not even like an actual movie.
Oh, Shazam 2 is like releasing like a week before, I think.
That's right. I think they were originally up against each other, and then one of Avatar moved. Yeah,
which is a completely different movie. It'll be a good family movie.
Yeah,
different crowd.
All right, so high scores on Nope. Let's talk about The Gray Man now. The Gray Man, very different movie than what we're watching. This is literally a spectacle movie.
Significantly better.
Though, kind of the intention here. When the CIA's most skilled mercenary, known as Court Gentry, a.k.a. Sierra 6, accidentally uncovers agency secrets, he becomes a primary target and is hunted around the world by psychotic former colleague Lloyd Hansen and international assassins. Chris Evans wearing a fantastic wardrobe, as we talked with the Rooster Brothers about last week. I gotta fix that. It's a typo.
Just lose Chris.
Great man. Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Jessica Henwick. How do you say that one person's name? I always say it wrong.
Which one?
I keep wanting to say Jean Reno, but I know that's
Reggie Jean Page.
Yeah, who Marvel accidentally said was in Secret Invasion. You see that?
Not.
I think he's in it though.
I think he's in it secretly.
I think he's in it, but they weren't
supposed to say it. That was weird. They actually the Marvel Studios Twitter had to correct it and said he was incorrectly listed in the cast during Comic-Con, which was odd because he was always rumored to be in the cast. So that was strange.
Well, they cut scenes, one of the two.
Yeah, which they just dealt with big issues on that with Thor: Love and Thunder. So, The Gray Man, much different movie than what we just discussed. I had a lot of fun with The Gray Man. Is The Gray Man all that great? I don't think so. But I think for what The Gray Man is, The Gray Man. I think it's fun. I love Ryan Gosling, and I think literally everything he does. And I think Chris Evans is Chris Evans. I feel like I sometimes incorrectly say that Chris Evans used to be a bad actor because I don't think he ever was.
No,
he was just taken in a different way. But I do think he has grown into a pretty fucking good actor. Like he is incredibly charming, and I like that he's charming not because he's played a villain, and we kind of said I always forget that he was a villain in Knives Out because he's
great in that.
Like kind of wasn't for much of it. Like it's kind of a trick, really. But he becomes kind of evil and villainy, and everyone in that movie is kind of a piece of shit anyway.
Right.
But he really is charming on both sides of that aisle, whether he's a hero or a villain. And I just don't think that's very easy to do. I think this is a very fun movie. I don't think it's great. I think it's above. I think it's average to above average. I enjoyed it, but I kind of wish it was better than it was. Like I really can't even pretend that it's close to like a great movie. I have it right now. I can't believe it's below The Bad Guys, but I do have it that way. I do have it at a 75. I do enjoy The Gray Man. I don't think it's all that great though, but I think it's definitely above average. I think it's a really well-made action movie. But I wish it was better. When this was announced, I thought this could be like high 80s type movie. And it is not there. I have it at a 75. It just beats out Better Nate Than Ever, my favorite Disney Plus movie of the year. Ken Jack, Gray Man.
I think with this movie, I saw a bunch of people, because we got to see it obviously a little bit earlier because of the Russo brothers interview. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, people are going to like this. It's pretty entertaining and everything like that. And then the reviews are all like these people shitting on it, being like, it's fucking $200 million of nothing. It's terrible. It's bad. It's so boring. It's like, I thought it was completely entertaining. I think it's like a series of extremely hot people in escalating boss fights in different locations across the globe. And I think that the execution of the way they did it was kind of cool. And I think that the dialogue was, he had a hit or miss, but funny at points. I think they do that classic Russo Marvel thing of like blending the action and the comedy in a little bit. I thought Gosling was funny and really kinetic. It's kind of like if his character from The Nice Guys was competent at his job. And I thought that was a good character. Very Ransom-esque character for Chris Evans. I thought he was very sadistic, and I think he pulled that off well. I wish I got more Ana de Armas out of it, because her character was definitely one of the more interesting ones. Sorry to disappoint you, Jamie Lee Curtis. And Billy Bob Thornton, I thought was the West. Billy Bob Thornton shouldn't have been in this movie because he was just kind of not on the same level as the rest of those guys. It could have been like any other CIA guy. Billy Bob Thornton.
I like Billy Bob. I like Billy Bob.
It's so funny when you look at pictures of the cast where it's like all these like sexy hot people dressed up to the nines, and then it's like Billy Bob Thornton wearing like a fucking Ed Hardy t-shirt and like a fucking skull cap. Like he just doesn't fit, I think, the vibe of the movie totally well. But on the technical end, I just really, really like the way that they paced out the escalating boss fights, because you get like you get a little bit of everything, right? You get knives, you get guns, fist kicks, like throws, all that shit. I think the stunt choreography looks really, really cool, especially when they're fighting people like you've never seen before, like Dinesh, that guy they fought. Like that was an awesome fight scene, I thought.
He was great.
Great. I had never heard of him before, and then I was like looking him up for hours after that. I'm like, how did this guy out of nowhere?
He's a big Bollywood star, right?
Yeah, big Bollywood star and singer, I think, primarily, which is crazy. There is definitely issues with it. There's some stuff that could get tidied up with, again, dialogue, some of the other cast. It's dumb, it's loud, doesn't do anything I would say insanely original, but I think it's very undeniably entertaining in my opinion. And I think it's really led by three people who are three of the most, I would say, charismatic and attractive actors in Hollywood. And I think you just get to watch them go around kicking ass all across the globe. And to me, I think that's a win. So I ended up, and that's still, again, there's a lot of issues with it, but I ended up on a 78 for it. And like when you see the Rotten Tomatoes score for it being like in the 40s or whatever, I'm just like, I
think it's very high, which makes me think. It is worth noting the audience does not view this movie that low. Look, here's the thing with this movie. I just want to say this.
But critics giving it 40, I think, is insanity, if you ask me.
This falls in the same camp as the Godzillas of the world, as the Uncharteds of the world. And I don't know if there was an intention to make this, and I may misread that, but I think the movie did what it was intended to do. That's
my point, yeah.
I think the intention is to where it landed where it was. I says about Godzilla, King of Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong, like, there's just some movies that, like, I compared it to, like, there's just some baseball players, they're never going to be better than 7th hitter in a lineup, 8th hitter in a lineup. They're just always going to bat below 3. You know, they'll stay in the majors. They'll do their thing no matter how hard they fucking try in 1 year. No matter how many steroids they take, they're just not going to make the All-Star game. And I just think this movie falls in that space, which is not to say it's not disappointing in that sense, because you wish a movie with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, I don't know, it's going to be better. But I think the intention here is that. That's the same way I felt about Uncharted. I don't think I was on for the episode we reviewed Uncharted, right?
No, you weren't. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. It's like you got Mark Wahlberg, and Mark Wahlberg's been in some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, so I just want to note that. But like he also been in some really good shit. You got Tom Holland. Like there's just some movies that I think that's as good as you're gonna get. Like I really do. And this one though comes a little bit of an asterisk of like, it should have been a lot better than this. We're like, I can't say that about Uncharted or the last two Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand on Gray Man. It's kind of weird in that sense.
To the movie's
Chris,
credit, I don't think it ever presented itself as being like an insanely dramatic turn or something where it's going to be anything other than exactly what it was. And that's where something like you compare that advertising for the Gray Man versus the advertising for No. I feel like the Gray Man was much more clear what exactly the movie was. It's like you're getting essentially like Avengers light action comedy with these insanely attractive and huge high profile actors.
Chris, I'll only be upset if you liked it less than 6 Underground.
I couldn't bring myself. I watched 10 minutes of 6 Underground and got a headache, and I turned it off.
I hate 6 Underground.
That could have been an alternative title to this movie.
Really makes me mad.
Yeah. Look, I like the Russos a lot, and outside of just them as people, they seem like really good guys. I like the interview you guys did with them. And look, they kind of have a lifetime past, right? I mean, what they did, the MCU wasn't dying or anything, but what they did with those 4 movies that they made, I mean, they're 4 of the top 5, top 6 MCU movies. I mean, they directed Endgame, right? And I'm one of the weird people who actually kind of likes Cherry. I think it's a total mess, but
interesting. I did not know that.
Reviewed that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that next week.
But it's a complete mess, but it's fascinating to me.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So I like these guys a lot. I like these guys a lot. I don't like anything about this movie at all. I think it's really, really horrible. And let me take that back. I don't think it's horrible. Like, this is not gonna be my worst movie of the year, but at its best, it's completely bland, completely generic. And you guys are talking about the actors, but what really buries this to me is because you brought up Uncharted. What made Uncharted work is the fact that Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, as miscast as Mark Wahlberg may have been, they had some pretty good chemistry together. That movie had actual like adventure elements, and Tom Holland was great. I think everyone in this is bad. Like, I think this is one of the worst acted big budget movies I've seen in a minute. Like, I like Gosling. I think he's fine. But Chris Evans is like hamming it up to a point where he's completely not believable. Ana de Armas is bored as fuck in this. She doesn't want to be there for a second. She has no expression on her face the entire movie. The action as a whole, that's you use this as a compliment. That's all it is boss fights. And for the guys who directed Winter Soldier, but I wasn't that impressed by the action. Is the problem is for guys who directed Winter Soldier, the action in this movie, it becomes so maudlin where it's just like, all right, another action sequence. All right, here we go. A little bit of exposition, another action sequence, a little bit of exposition, another action sequence. And one thing I noticed, could be wrong, I think a majority of the hand-to-hand combat stuff was sped up. I don't think it was actually that authentic. I think they did the actual choreography, but it kind of took, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but I had a buddy who pointed it out to me before he saw the movie. And then when I saw the movie, I go, this is sped up. So I wish I could say that the redeeming element was how good the action is. And for the record, I don't think this isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not like, it's not the worst movie of the year, but I just found it so generic and so completely forgettable. And it seemed like everyone in the cast was just kind of doing the Russos a favor by being in it. And this guy who's on, what show is he on? Is it Riverton or Bridgerton?
Bridgerton.
Right. He's just doing a bad Jeffrey Wright impression.
I thought he was bad. I thought he was really bad.
I thought he was miscast too. So yeah, I mean this as a backhanded compliment, but it is a compliment nonetheless because it is on Netflix and because of how generic it is. I do think there will be people who would put it on and get enjoyment out of it, and I think I would have too, but it's 2 hours. Why? This is a movie about one man just trying to kill another man.
Could have been shorter. Cannot disagree with you.
Make it 90 minutes.
The whole sequence of him getting the passport, cut that from the movie.
Yeah.
And him getting trapped underground and just getting away. Like, that really didn't need to be there.
Yeah. And I know this
didn't move at all.
I know that this is based on a book also, but this movie rips off John Wick like a million times, especially, the last two when it's, hey, we're putting the hit out on him and he gets betrayed and, he's going to, in John Wick. Yeah.
What if
there's a lot of crossover though? Cause they used to the what do you call it? The Russo brothers and the Stahelski, David Leitch combo. There's a lot of crossover there. They help promote each other a lot.
Oh, that's fair. And yeah, you know, I'm way angrier than I should be. And nothing about this angered me. I thought it was lame. Now, I'm glad you guys liked it, but I was just not crazy about it, especially coming off the heels of seeing.
I was fine with it. I don't want to say liked. Above average is like, okay.
Right. I guess coming off the heels of Nope, which, yeah, I had my issues with it, but it's so inspired the way that movie's made and directed. And I think there's something infectious about Jordan Peele's movies. Here, I think this was made with a lot of passion. I just thought it was really poorly executed.
That's where I think having this set of expectations helps, where like when you go to like a Jordan Peele movie, you're expecting like a souffle. You go to a Russo brothers action comedy, you're expecting a cheeseburger. And like, if you go in expecting that, I feel like it does make the enjoying process a little bit. And I agree with you, like definitely not super unique, not like something, doesn't really do anything for the spy thriller genre that like revolutionizes it. Doesn't do anything like the same with like action fight choreography like John Wick did. So like I agree with that end of it, but I also think that like for a plug and play action thriller with comedy, I think you could definitely do significantly worse. And I did find a lot of enjoyment or entertainment throughout this movie, but I would never have any qualms with your takes.
And that's totally fine. I mean, the way you guys present it makes complete sense. I was just more critical of it.
What score would you toss on it? Gooch, where would you put it?
What would I give it? I'm actually at 75 too. I think I'm the only one here who saw it on a big screen. Did you see it on the theater?
Yeah, you saw it in Cineplex, right?
I went to the Cinepolis. I don't know how to say it. It's a nice fancy theater in New York City, and they were showing it. It's a movie that I wish Netflix had kind of. I know they don't like to do it. They didn't do it with Roma. They don't like to put their movies on big screens. This is a movie that really belonged on a big screen, and would have been an easy sell with the cast and the directors. It was fun. It definitely ran too long at points. I agree with that, Chris, 100%. And it didn't do anything like revolutionary stunt-wise to make me go like, holy shit, never seen that before. But I had fun. I think Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans were good. That's where I disagree. I liked Chris Evans hamming it up. I thought it was funny, at least engaging. And I thought they had good chemistry. I don't think Ana de Armas and Ryan Gosling had good chemistry in this at all.
I agree with that.
I'll be interested to see. I think this will get a sequel. I think Netflix wants to build something around this for sure. They just came out and said they're still looking for like their franchise, and they already sunk a lot of money into this.
That's the thing.
The list they submitted with that is so bad, though. It's like, yeah, we got the One Piece thing. We got the Avatar that's not connected to Konietzko or DiMartino. We got all these other things. Like, they're all terrible.
Really bad. Really, really bad.
Well, like, would you argue, though, and maybe this is going theatrical, aren't they getting Knives Out? Aren't they doing...
They are getting Knives Out.
I know that's technically not like a Netflix franchise.
They shouldn't be allowed to claim that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, they might. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe they definitely can. I don't know.
But yeah, no. So I'll be interested to see if they end up rolling back with the sequel. I had a fun time. It was a good decision. It was well worth the overpriced $20 Sunday ticket I bought. Yeah, it was good. I think also the Julia Butters character. I like Julia Butters a lot. That character was put in there just to kind of ground him or like make him more human. I don't think we really needed that at all. Like it would have been better if he was just on the run and excommunicado, like they do in John Wick. It'd been funny to hear Billy Bob Thornton say excommunicado.
It does feel at points, and I had this issue with Cherry too, where it's just not sure what kind of movie it wants to be. Because those moments with Julia Butters, it's a cop and a half, right? And then all of a sudden you have moments where it's trying to be John Wick. I mean, the same issue persisted way more so with Cherry, where it's like for a second it's Jarhead, then it's Full Metal Jacket, then it's Goodfellas, then it's Requiem for a Dream. I think that it's tonally kind of all over the place as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go in expecting what maybe it should have been pitched as, I think you'll have a fun time with it. I mean, audiences seem to be enjoying it. I enjoyed it, but as I'm watching it, there were plenty of things I'm like, oh, this is fucking okay. But again, it falls into that bucket of, again, the Godzillas of the world, the fucking Uncharteds of the world. I'm trying to think of just recent things, and I'm saying the same movies. But in that like 70 to 75 range, where like I think it's achieving what it wants to do. But again, this one's a little different than those two, where it's like, probably should have been.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I might have had more fun with Uncharted at points. Like there were peaks in Uncharted where I was like, "Oh, this is a lot of fun."
Uncharted, I think this movie has some issues, but there are parts of Uncharted where I'm like, this feels almost bad movie.
Yeah, but it's like fun. Like when they're on the ship at the very end.
That's crazy.
It's fun. Like they're again, that's where it's tough. It's like like let's look at the last 4 movies, just 4 movies off the top of my head. This movie, I think it's a fun, dumb action movie with some good fight choreography and some fun shit in it, and then I was incredibly entertained throughout. And I think that's the point. Okay. Nope. Way different. That is a horror sci-fi movie that I don't think Jordan Peele made it for an Oscar, but I think it's a movie that's gonna have Oscar consideration. Minions. Minions is a kids movie. And the last one I saw this weekend, I did see it. 20-somethings to 30-somethings everywhere rejoice as I saw Where the Crawdads Sing, which is not – it's not awful. It ain't good.
My mother walked out of that movie.
Wow.
Not because she wasn't enjoying it, but I've never done this. She got a better offer to do something else, so she just left. She had a pickleball engagement she had to go to, but I'm curious though. I'm curious though, because she's religious. She is to pickleball what I am to baseball, except she actually plays pickleball. But she asked me a question about that though, and I wondered, there's no way you could go back to a movie and say, I walked out with 30 minutes left. Can I just go in and see it again? You have to buy another ticket. Right?
No, you definitely do.
Yeah. Unless it was like a podunk mom and pop theater where everyone knew everyone. Like it was the fucking bar.
I wanted to go see Nope at Patrick Wilson. I wanted to go see Nope at Patrick Wilson's theater in Bradley Beach, New Jersey, which is right by where I am right now. But it's not, and it was fucking playing Where the Crawdads Sing, but I ended up seeing it at AMC. Apparently, it's very faithful. My friends who've read the book, if you know somebody between the age of 20 and 40, they've likely read the book in the last 6 months, and they're female. So just say
it has
my point on all that is like it is one of the funnier things of like when we end up rating every movie ever that we see. I don't know, like I feel like you have to bracket and bucket them into certain things.
I tweeted the other day how Daisy Edgar Jones is in like a weird zone right now where she's in literally everything, like super oversaturated market of Daisy Edgar Jones, but she's so good that no one cares. Like even if she's in a movie that's not particularly great, she's usually good in it.
Where the Crawdads Sing right now, it has a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes, but what do you think the audience score is?
I know what it is, so I won't say it.
85.
High 71.
It's way higher than that.
80s?
In the 90s? It's 100, perfect 100 audience score?
It's 96. It has a 96 audience score.
Apparently it's insanely faithful to the book. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But I've been told it's very faithful, and
they've been waiting. That book was popular 10 years ago.
Well, isn't it because didn't it pop because it was in Reese Witherspoon's book club or something?
Yes. Girls in the South love that book.
Yeah, it's
a crawdad in it.
Where the Crawdads?
I'm the Crawdad man.
I feel like I'm saying that wrong because saying book club, or was it Oprah?
Oh man, Mincy would love this book. He's got to read it. He's basically a singing crawdad. If you've seen any of those,
let's get a Mincy review out in front of a theater.
The South loves crawfish. I do too, though.
Daisy Edgar Jones got
the first time old Gooch here ever visited New York for Barstool work, we ended up eating crawfish. Fun fact.
That place closed.
It did. That place is very
good.
Sad.
I went to take my friend there, and then we got there, and I was like, I promise there used to be a place here. And it
was very good. Anyway, point being, it's one of those weird. It's just I don't know. Some of those movies are weird like that, where you watch, you're like, how do I watch this movie? That same thing with Minions. But I'll tell you what, Minions was such an improvement on the last Minions. Minions Rise of Gru is so much better than just regular Minions. It's a nice change.
Yeah.
Less. I mean, it's still really fucking annoying, and I hate them. But that's where we stand on the Gray Man. Chris, I'm actually more surprised, Chris, that you really like Cherry, because we did not like Cherry.
I did not really like Cherry. Cherry was a very mild recommendation. There was a part of me that enjoyed it because of just the bizarreness of it.
They do some cool stuff.
Yeah, it is so. It's the only movie in the world that steals from every movie and yet is also hard to compare to any other movie. It's like it contradicts itself in a weird way. But yeah, I feel like if I watched it again, I might not like it. But it was a bizarre experience first time around.
Yeah, so that's it. Those are our 2 movies. Next week is next week. I feel like we just went through a big run of movies that we were...
DC Super Pets.
I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be really good.
Yuck.
I think it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be good. That's disappointing. That is not what I wanted to review next week. But it looks like that is fan.
Oh wait, what's that Kevin Hart and Rock thing? Is that it?
That's it, right?
No, he's got something else though with him married, right? I think I saw a video of it. I forget.
Bullet Train the week after that.
Hard on Hard or something,
which I'm hearing is quite good.
Get Hard too.
Well, we'll probably review Not Okay as well as Zoe Deutsch and Dylan O'Brien. We have her in studio.
Did you not see that?
Oh, is that just me?
Yeah, that's on.
Oh, that.
Oh, I want to see it. Okay, yeah, that'll be fun.
Kenjack and I just got our screeners for that. I think I'm going to go drive and get popcorn and watch it.
They filmed a lot of that, like right down the street from me.
Cool.
I'm very excited for it, and I love Zoe Deutsch and I love Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah, I got a roll, boys.
That's it for Chris. That's it for this podcast. We haven't recorded the first part yet, so we're about to go do this backwards and talk about San Diego Comic-Con. That's it for Kenjack, Chris, and Gooch. I'm Jeff D. Lowe. We will talk to you next time.